Lodge up yourself. What you say, family? It's a vibes. Yeah, your host Selah Shalom back in the building. Late night with it, spooky hour. Cause it's a vibes. Yes, family just came from the store. You know what I mean? We back on the lookout. I see you, peace. Bazelle, I see you, peace. Peace to the gods, the righteous gods and goddesses. Cause it's a vibes. Let me get myself situated. Went to the store real quick. Cause it's a vibes. We late night with it. Spooky hour. Ghost stories. It's a vibes. Yes, family, lodge up yourself, big up yourself. Selah Shalom, we back at it. Late night with it. That's right. We on our late night shit. We on our late night shit. We on our late night shit. It's a vibes. Selah Shalom TV. According to the text. As it is written. It's a vibes. Yes, family. Your boy Selah Shalom chiming in. Peace, peace, peace to the family. I see y'all chiming in. Hit that like when y'all come in. You know what I mean? You know how I like to get my day started. Mr. Splifter. Knocked it down some, yeah? Yes, family. What's the word, y'all? What y'all talking about? What we got going on? Your boy out here late night with it. 12 o'clock midnight. You know what time that is. Time that the angels come out at night. The angels come out at night. It's the spooky hour. The time that the spirits of the dead walk the earth. Yo, I swear in the night hours you see the most craziest things, yo. These spirits be inhabiting people's bodies at night. You see the most craziest things at night. The Deshaun, I see you. Peace. See y'all chiming in. Jawway, I see you. Vortexy and Current. Cause it's a vibes. Jamel, I see you. What's good? Yeah, family, y'all chiming in. We getting it in. No particular topic right now. Got a few things I'm working on. But as of now, I just get on because it's a vibe. I like the vibe with my people, you know what I mean? Talk about whatever we want to talk about. Throw some questions in there. We start raising the questions, the Q&As. You know what I mean? I came on earlier breaking down the spirits. Explain how the spirits in infancy continue to live. We explain how, the biblical God kills infants, and the infants raised in spirit lack knowledge of corporality. You dig? Rolling down myself. You already know, beloved. You gotta put the herbal essence in the air. That's why people, see, you gotta separate book knowledge sometimes from reality. You know what I'm saying? So like, oh, if you do this, you're gonna be infested with drunks and drudges. Come on, man. You ain't got no influence, yo. They ain't got no influence over here. It's a vibes. Yeah, yo, it's the spooky hour. The spirits come out at night. Like when you read the Book of Wars Against Jehovah, it talks about the battle of 1,000 years. I read some of this last time. But one thing I noticed about the battle of 1,000 years in the Book of Wars Against Jehovah is that the angels, one thing I found significant with that story is that the angels of the false god, they made the attack at midnight. It specifically said midnight. I read that the first time. I'm like, all right, they attacked at midnight. That's cool. Then reading later on, when they went to go do another assault, it was the same thing at midnight. So I was like, what's up with midnight and the attack of these fallen angels at midnight? And then I realized midnight is the hour that these false gods try to make the attack on the souls of mortals. You know what I mean? When you read the story of the Book of Wars Against Jehovah in the Battle of 1,000 Years, you're going to see how these spirits try to interfere with mortals during sleep. While you sleep, that's why I remember, the Christian concept, they'll tell you to pray before you go to sleep. Our Father, pray that my soul don't take, however that, the prayer when it talks about, I pray that my soul don't take away or something like that. I forgot how the prayer go. But those things is real, yo. When you understand the Oahspe and the depths of the spirituality, your ass better pray before you go to sleep, nigga. Because you're going into a realm of sleep which is unknown to you, but is well known to the spirits of the dead who dwell in the realm. So while your ass sleep, certain spirits is trying their best to get a host of your body, to possess your spirit. Why you sleep? I done heard stories of niggas seen the Baphomet. Yes, the Baphomet goat. I had niggas who actually proclaimed that the Baphomet visited them niggas. You know what I'm saying? I done heard niggas talk about demons like motherfucking devils, like the devils with the horns and all that shit, like demonic. I done heard niggas talk like that. They had these experiences during their sleeping hours. Some of them talk about being paralyzed and they can't move, but they see motherfuckers walk around. I done heard those stories. A whole bunch of stories about the spirits of the dead and how they interfere with the living during the hours of midnight. They work from midnight to sun up. Soon as the sun rise or them sun rays start coming, they out of here. They can't be in the light. They run from the light. You dig? Linda, I see you. Y'all chiming in. Yeah, we just up here on a late night chilling, yo. Chilling, spooky hour. Let me get a couple of soul rays from these false gods. If you ain't got you in Oahspe yet, you bullshitting. But understand how these gods work, yo. I read you earlier about how the angels can take poisonous viruses and annihilate the lungs of mortals. These angels could. Oahspe is revealing that the spirits of the dead can kill the living. I thought when niggas died, that was it. Ain't no interfering with the living no more. You go your way, nigga, we here. Couldn't find out they over here interfering with the living. They over here interfering with the living. Harriet, I see you. Shalom, gang, gang. Creator, gang, gang in the building. Yeah, the Book of Wars. I read this earlier. Read it again, though. We're going to get into it in a minute. How y'all doing up there? Woo! Some good shit. You know, when you first work up, hit the blunt, you be like, woo. I just woke up from the land of the dead, Joe. You know what I mean? I notice sometimes when I be dreaming and shit, or when I be asleep, I know my spirit be taken up. I'll have like, when I'm getting ready to wake up and shit, it's like I'm falling off a goddamn skyscraper. You know when you on a roller coaster going up and down, and the way you get them butterflies when you get that drop? Every time I'm about to wake up, I get that drop feeling like I'm falling off the sky. But then I realize, I'm like, if your spirit is taken up with these beings when you sleep, and they gotta bring your ass back down, okay, that makes sense. As far as, you know what I mean, you being taken up. Because a lot of times we still don't understand dreams as far as like what the fuck they mean, and especially we don't consider angels, you know what I mean, interfering with our dreams like that in the long run, you know what I mean? We just have these ideas and these thoughts, but the dream world is interesting, you know. It's very, very interesting. Cherise, I see you. Eric Hamilton, I see you. Gang, gang. Linda, I see you. Y'all chiming in on the late night. All right, y'all up. Man, y'all, I notice, man, we don't never sleep, yo. I be up 3 in the morning, niggas still be online chatting and talking. I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on here. Yeah, these things is deep. The Book of Wars Against Jehovah is very insightful about what we're going through today with the ideology of these concepts of God. The God concept, the creator coming from the creator being a man concept, creation being done in 7 days, all that come from 6,000 years ago. All that come from the 23rd Ark cycle, right? Yes, family. So we about to break this 6,000 year chain, and we doing the jobs. We breaking the chains. Enough people done broke the chains of these false gods and then came back to the creator. You ain't got to believe in the Oahspe to come back to the creator, but we exposing these fake gods in the Oahspe to show you that these gods, who you think in your Bible, who you think in these Indian texts, these Chinese texts, all these texts, who we claiming to think is the Most High creator is not. If you notice, religiously, no doctrine confesses the creator. The Bible don't confess the creator. The Bible confesses the deity, Elohim. Islam, they confess Allah. Now, Islam may be the closest to trying to get to the creator, because in Islam, ignorantly, because the Muslims ignorantly don't know that they're worshiping Jibril. They don't know that. But in their ignorance, they think that they're worshiping Allah as the creator. Because a Muslim will tell you that you can't see Allah. And that's one of the main factors of the creator, that you can't see the creator like you see a man. So the Muslims don't believe that Allah is a man. But then you got the Nation of Islam that preach that Allah is man. Arm, leg, arm, head. So technically, Islam still doesn't worship the Great Spirit, the creator, although they close. Then we go to the the Eastern religions, like the Vedic, the Sanskrit, those doctrines, you don't see no worship of the Creator. You see a multiplicity of deities, Shiva, Krishna, and the list goes on. Same thing with China. Chinese got a multiplicity of deities, but you rarely hear any religion talking about the Creator, the Great Spirit. Now, the native Indians talk about the Great Spirit, the Creator. That's one people, probably the only people, who actually identify with a creator outside of a deity. Most other religious people identify a deity as their creator. So we find that quite interesting because the Native Americans call on the Great Spirit. When you talk about the Great Spirit, or the natives talk about the Great Spirit, they don't talk about a deity. They talk about the creator. And they actually use the very word creator. When you look at some of these documentations about the natives, and they refer to the creator. They refer to the creator as the Great Spirit. You dig? Oh yeah, sis, you said your baby cat passed away, no doubt. Yeah, the baby cat passed away, but there's a heaven for the animals. That's the beautiful thing about Oahspe. Oahspe shows you that the animals have an existence in spirit after their corporeal body. So if a damn animal could survive after death, you know we good. It just determines how you lived your life. That's going to really determine the nature of your spirit after you die. Your spiritual conditions after death all determines how you live on earth. If you live in righteous or unrighteous, it's gonna show. She, bro, I see you. I see you, family. Chiming in, everybody chiming in. Now, since this is the spooky hour, you know what I mean, ghost stories, I'm going to read a little bit in the Book of Wars Against Jehovah, right? Chapter 24, it talks about the Battle of 1,000 Years, where the false gods, Osiris, Sudga, and Tian, under the authority of Anuhasaj, aka Lord God and Dais, they went down to the earth. Because see, like I said, after a heavenly kingdom is established, their next duty is to create a stronghold on the earth. So they'll send, so Anuhasaj will send his emissary angels to the earth, warrior angels to the earth, to stir up things so they could basically begin the takeover. So they'll stir up things by doing abnormal activities in the house, like I was saying earlier. They'll, like haunted houses and shit like that. These angels be interfering with mortals on that fashion, like Amityville Horror. When the dude killed his whole family, he was inspired because it was a deity, it was an angel, a drudge in that house that inspired him to evil. So the Battle of 1,000 Years is when these angels came to the earth to take over guardianship over mortals. Now, most people don't understand guardianship who read the Bible because the Bible doesn't talk about guardian angels. Guardian angels are designed to watch over you. That's what they're guardians. Just like when you have a child and you are your guardian over your child and you're there to watch over your child and protect your child, if possible, it's the same thing with the guardian angels. They're here to be a shield for you to avoid evil spirits, to avoid the inspiration of evil spirits. So your guardian angel is like a protector. If some evil spirits come in this way, nah, nigga, fall back. They come in this way, fall back. They're like your bodyguards. You know when you see celebrities go through crowds and they got the bodyguards pushing the people back so the people won't get to the celebrity? It's the same thing with the spirits of darkness. The spirits of darkness is like the groupies, like the people trying to get to the celebrity. The celebrity is you, the host. Your bodyguard is your guardian angel trying to keep the people away from you so they won't grab hold of you and rip off your shirt and trying to, rip you apart because you're a celebrity. But every now and then the bodyguards, when they slip up and somebody may come through and grab the celebrity and want to autograph and do extra abnormal things to the celebrity, right? Using that concept as a concept to how these drudges, spirits of darkness, go out their way to try to pass your bodyguard to grab you, because once they get a hold of you, they can engraft themselves on you. And like the Oahspe say, not just one, two, but hundreds, but tens of hundreds. Tens and 20s and 30s. Spirits can be attached to one mortal host. You may have 20 spirits lingering on you. The same way Some of these gangsters got 10 bodies. They done killed 10 people. That's 10 people latched on their goddamn spirit and grafted on their ass. See that? One. All right, so check it. Some good shit. So chapter 1, right? Chapter 24, this is verse 1, in the book of wars against Jehovah. This is the assault raid of Japheth. See, in the Oahspe, Japheth is Asia, is China. China. See, in the Bible, they got you believing that Japheth is Europe. Japheth is China. Europe came after China. Europe came after India. The Indian and Chinese history is more indigenous and is longer than the European. The Europeans came, so when they say the Europeans came out of Japheth, they came much later out of Japheth. Japheth originally is the Chinese. Shem originally is India. And of course we know Ham to be Africa. And keep in mind, these are not people. So let me get to it. Verse 1, Anuhasaj, alias Lord God, had said to Tian, the false. Now Tian is the name of the false god over China, to whom he gave in charge Japheth and her heavenly place. In the self same time that Osiris and his hosts fell upon his divisions of the earth, even in that day and hour shall thou and thy host fall upon Japheth, in parentheses, China, possessing the temples and altar. Now, you see what the false god is, Anuhasaj is telling Tian, how to go about doing it. He says, yo, possess what? The temples and altars, the altars, and places of oracles where they serve the great spirit under the name Ormazd. See that? This is this false god telling you to attack the altars where they worship the great spirit. Because if you attack the altars and you remove the guardian angels of the great spirit and assume guardianship, when mortals comes to the altars and the temples to pray and the deities speak, now the deities is of the false god. So whatever the deities say, the people gonna follow. You know, if God got to change your heart and he told you don't do this, and now he's telling you do this, the people don't know better. They don't know. They just hearing the voice and going by what the voice say. So it states what? It says, even in that day and hour shall thou and thy host fall upon Japheth, China, possessing the temples and altars and places of oracles where they serve the great spirit under the name Ormazd. And thou shalt subdue them to me under the name Joss, Joss. See, now they're trying to get you to change the name of the Creator, who is and ever shall be Hojos of heaven and earth. So this is the false god, Tian, inspiring mortals to switch the name of the great spirit, Ormazd, to start worshiping another name, Hojos. Verse 2. So Tian, the false god, with his 1,000,000,000 warriors, sped forth downward to the earth. See what I'm saying? After they establish their kingdom, after they get the instructions, where they headed, thousands, millions of warrior angels headed to the earth. Thousands, you talking about millions. We ain't talking about no small number. You're talking about millions coming to the earth. And instead what? Widespread his army to cover the whole of Japheth in hope to capture it suddenly. So they got millions. So you could imagine the expanse of the land of China, how wide the land of China is. These angels spread out the width of the continent, descended down to make their attack. So these angels attack systematically. These niggas just ain't running around here like they don't know what they're doing. They systematically making these attacks like at war, like generals and captains at war. Systematically done. So what? Tian, the false god, with his 1,000,000,000 warriors, sped forth downward to the earth, widespread his army to cover the whole of Japheth, or China, in hope to capture it suddenly. And even as Osiris plunged into the temples and oracle houses and about the altars in the dead of night to drive away Jehovah's guardian angels. See that? You see what it said? Even as Osiris plunged into the temples and oracle houses about the altars in the dead of night. The dead of night is midnight. To drive away Jehovah's guardian angels. So like I said, these angels, they come out at midnight, and their duty is to drive away the guardian angels over mortals and assume guardianship over mortals during the night hours, during the hours when you sleep. So like him, even worse, Tian was baffled and repulsed and saw the morning sunrise upon his shame in total failure. And then he too, with his mighty legions, went stalking about all day long on the earth, waiting for the next night assault on sleeping mortals. See that? See what the Oahspe is telling you? When your ass is asleep, you have spirits of darkness, drudges, out here trying to make attacks. And look what it said. It said they walked around all day chilling. Like, all right, we're going to wait. We're going to linger until the night fall. With night call, we're going to move in on these cats. You see that? I remember back in the 90s in New York, in the daytime, you ain't see the killers. But come out after when that sun go down, you gonna see the killers. The killers come out at night. So again, it state what? And then too, with his mighty legions, went stalking about all day long on earth, waiting for the next night's assault on sleeping mortals, and to receive new orders from the Lord God as to the next proceedings. See that? They tried the first night, they wasn't too successful. The sun rose, they just lingering. They just in the daytime like this. As soon as that sun go down, nigga, we back at it. And they said they waiting for instructions from the Lord God on how best to do it. So you getting instructions from these high-raised deities on how to assume guardianships over mortals. Because if they could attack, that's why they attack the temples first. Because that's the place of worship. If you could attack the place of worship and assume guardianship there, whatever you tell the oracles, whatever you tell the magi who's listening to the spirits, they're gonna. So if the spirits say, all right, we're not worshiping the great spirit or Maz no more, we're gonna start calling him Hojas, that's his new name. The oracle ain't gonna argue. The oracle gonna say, okay, he's gonna go to the congregation and say, hey, I got a revelation from God. He said his name is not Maz anymore, his name is Hojas. So the people in the crowd looking at each other like, oh, what's going on? Why the sudden change? But they don't know better. They're like, all right, well, if the spirit says so, so shall it be. That's why the false gods use the oracles and temples and altars, places of worship, to make the attack. Because if they could conquer and domain, if they could get that domain, if they could conquer that, half the battle is done. You know what I mean? Because the people is going to already be believing in what the deity said at the altar, which in return will make the other angels assume guardianship over mortals easier, because now their mind has been altered. Their mind has been persuaded away from the Creator. That means that 100% faith that they had in the Creator has now dropped to 75%. Now they got 25% opportunity for these drudges to enter in, just using percentage as a factor. See that? So again, let's read that again. And then he too, with his mighty legions, went stalking about all day long on the earth, waiting for the next night assault on sleeping mortals, and to receive new orders from the Lord as to the next proceeding. Verse 3. Then came the second night, and Tian went in with his army, furious because of the last night's cowardly failure. And to the sleeping mortals, see that? To the sleeping mortals, men, women, and children, hide them with oaths and loud boasting, threatening Jehovah's angels with the torture of hell if they did not instantly resign all unto Hojas, the all-highest ruler, dweller in Horad. See that? See, these angels failed the night before, so now they're coming back furious. You know what I mean? And it said, what? And to the sleeping mortals, men, women, and children. You know what I mean? It says, threatening them, and then it says threatening Jehovah's angels with torture in hell. So they're not only trying to get at the mortals, they gotta get rid of the guardian angel of Jehovah before they can assume guardianship. So they gotta get rid of the guardian angel first. And how do they assume to get rid of the guardian angel? By what? By loud boasting, threatening Jehovah's angels with the torture of hell if they do not instantly resign all unto Hojas. So that's like a nigga saying, but if you don't get off this block, boy, we gonna kill you, nigga. That's like you hustling on the blocks and niggas roll up and threaten you. And you like, nigga, whatever. You know what I mean? Or you be like, damn, this nigga's threatening me. They may come back and kill me. Let me get off the block. See that? You allowed their words to weaken your faith, and now you leave, and now the block is open. the mortal host is open for the taking. And here they come. Verse 4. But faithful stood the Jehovians. See that? You talked all that shit. Them niggas ain't break. It said what? But faithful stood the Jehovians, meaning the angels of the Jehovah. It says, but faithful stood the Jehovians, laid their hands on the sleeping mortals, and became all-powerful against the terrible odds, and held them in abeyance again. So the angel of Jehovah, these niggas came, they clicked up, came to the Jehovian, the guardian angel, and told the guardian angel, bro, you better leave. If you don't leave, boy, we're gonna torture you, we're gonna catch you in hell. And what did it say that the guardian angel did? What did it say? But faithful stood the Jehovian. Nigga, please, do it. Do it. Niggas ain't do shit. All that talk, and they ain't do shit. That's what's going on here. They having a dialogue with threatening words to try to remove the guardian angels of Jehovah so they could assume guardianship over that mortal. All this going on while your ass sleep. See that? Now, again, but faithful stood the Jehovians, laid their hands on the sleeping mortals, and became all-powerful against the terrible odds, and held them in abeyance again till the sun arose and scattered Tian's hosts, ashamed and silky in most pitiful defeat, of which news Tian now most painfully sent to his commanding God. So Tian got to go back and tell Anu, like, yo, man, this shit ain't working out like I thought. You know, we went to them Jehovians, you know what I mean? We talked a lot of shit, we threatened them, but they didn't move, they didn't run. What do you want us to do now? That's what Tian got to go back and tell Anu Hassad, you dig? So this shit get, now keep in mind, all this shit going on while your ass is sleeping. And this is the purpose of the Oahspe. That's why people say, oh, it's a fairy tale book. It's not a fairy tale book. It's letting you know what goes on in the life and labor of the spirits of the dead. Or the recent spirits of the dead, the long-time spirits of the dead, and the risen spirits of the dead who are becoming titles of God lords and angels and stuff of that. Or archangels and things of that nature. So again, verse 5 states, to him, even as to Osiris, Darius sent word to next attack the houses of the men of learning, the unbelievers. See how Darius is thinking? He's like, all right, when we went to the oracles, that didn't work because their faith is too strong in the Creator to really get them. We're going to fall back on them. We're going to go to the house of the unbelievers, those who don't really believe in the Creator. They may believe in another doctrine or they may believe in anything outside the Creator, which is going to make it easier, influential for them to be attacked. Because like I say, if your faith is not strong in the Creator, you leaving room for these spirits of darkness to inhabit your body. Strengthen your faith in the Creator, and this shit ain't gonna be as easy for him. I'll say that. So again, verse 5 states, to him, even as to Osiris, Darius sent word to next attack the houses of the men of learning, the unbelievers, and the ignorant, the superstitious, to abandon for the present the arks and temples and oracle houses and the faithists firmly sworn. So like I said, he said, leave them niggas alone. We can't get them. But go to these cats, the unbelievers, those who deal with who are ignorant and superstitious. They don't know better. Darius said, send thou thy numerators and mathematicians and measure and mark all mortals in Japheth, China, as to their vulnerability points, and map their localities. And when thou hast complete this work, set apart another night for an attack upon them. You see how strategically they doing this? And then it said what? At midnight, we're going to attack again. But this time, we're going to be strategic. We're going to see the ones who don't believe in the Creator. The learned men who are more scientific and don't believe in spirit. The superstitious and the ignorant. We're going to attack them now. You see that? So it states what? As to their vulnerable points, and map out their localities. And when thou hast completed this task, or this work, set apart another night for an attack upon them. And thy host shall fall not upon the faithless, who are firm in the great spirit. See the difference? Omaz. But upon the weak and the disbelieving, the skeptical, and much learned philosophers, who are weak in spirit. And thou shalt not fail. See that? You see the strategy that Darius is using to make another attack He said, yo, fall back on the faithists. They are sworn to the Creator. We can't get to them. But we're going to get to the learned men, the philosophers, who have studied physicality to the point they disbelieve in spirituality. Like when you go to Sonnet and you got all these guys like the Yarabon who don't believe in spirituality, think it's spookism, that nigga would be a perfect host for these type of niggas. You see what I'm saying? And other people who don't believe in the spiritual life or don't believe in spirituality, those are the ones that the angels are going to attack. Those are the ones that are vulnerable for attack due to the lack of faith in the Creator. Huh? You see what's going on here? You see how these angels, these false gods, they strategize strategically? Verse 6. So Tien enumerated the Japhethians, or the Chinese, as commanded, marking them as to their vulnerable points, whether in disbelief in spirit, or if given to lust, or to hasty passions, or to telling lies, or to stealing, or to murder, or to hypocrisy, or to desire for leadership. And before the time of battle, Tien knew the grade of every mortal in Japheth. This false god said he knew the grade of every mortal in Japheth. Let's go to the grades real quick. Some people may be like, what are the grades? You know, everybody come on here and be new sometimes. So let's go to the grades. It says that Tien knew the grade of every mortal on the earth. Huh? There go the grades right there. So everybody is graded from 1 to 99. Every human being on the planet. If it's 8 billion souls, that's 8 billion people with grade from 1 to 99. You somewhere within the grades. Every human is somewhere within the grades. So what did Tien say? He said what? For the next assault. No, I'm over here with it. Okay, he said it. Alright, so Tien knew the grade of every mortal in Japheth. These are the grades. So Tien, this false god knew. So if the false god can know every grade, you know true God know. You know all the other false gods know if they got to map out grades. So again, Tien knew, the false god Tien knew the grade of every mortal in Japheth, China. And he called his generals and captains before him in his heavenly place. Shisugao, over the Chesian Mountains, 20 miles high, showing them the lists and maps. Verse 7. Take these, he said, and distribute them before thy mighty armies. And tomorrow night they shall learn every mortal's place and quality. And in the night my legion shall rush upon the places, laying hands on the sleeping mortals. See that? These niggas laying hands on your ass while you sleep. You know a lot of times you may sleep and you may suffer paralysis, like you can't wake up. Motherfucker got your ass held down. Or you sleep paralysis and your eyes is open and you seeing motherfuckers moving around your bed. And you wondering who these motherfuckers is, them shadow people? Or motherfuckers at the edge of your bed just standing there. And you wondering who these people are? What did the verse say? What did the verse say? It says, take these, he said, and distribute them before thy mighty armies, and tomorrow night they shall learn every mortal's place and quality. And in the night my legion shall rush upon the places, laying hands on the sleeping mortals, thus gaining power. And they shall hurt. See, it says they're going to lay hands on the sleeping mortals, thus gaining power. They gain power from us. You see that? They sucking our goddamn life force by touching our asses and goddamn gaining power from it, right? This shit deep. And they shall hurl missiles with terrible noises, though the houses of the sleepers and the houses of the sleepers, and so arouse them to awake and behold the war of heaven carried to their homes. So you sleep, these niggas touching you and shit, gaining power, And then they making noises in your house like missiles, pow, pow. So you wake up like you hearing gunshots, saying niggas out here shooting. But damn, this shit sounding like it's coming from downstairs in my house. What the hell going on? You run downstairs with the ratchet. Who in my shit? They fucking with you down. The spirit's doing this. The spirit's doing this. Keep that in mind. Because sometimes you may hear shit moving around the house or sound like a nigga coming in. It may not be nobody but them goddamn spirits playing games with motherfuckers. These niggas supposed to be ascending in the grades to prepare to go into the etherian realms, but they down here on earth doing this foolishness. Practicing evil. Fucking with mortals while we sleeping. That's the worst time you want to fuck with somebody, when they sleep. You ever woke somebody up when they sleep and how aggressive they get? Hey, what the fuck you want? Why you waking me up, bro? You don't wake up nobody when they sleep. But these spirits of darkness out here playing with niggas in they sleep. We trying to get some rest, and these niggas over here want to goddamn play conjuring and insidious games. Verse 8. The generals and captains took the lists and maps and had millions of copies made of them. And then sent them into all the regions of Dias militants. And besides, sent proclaimers, millions and millions, with terrible oaths against the Great Spirit, the Creator, but who extol the magnificence of Dias to the utmost, appealing to their love of independence and to their power to cast off all other rulers forever except Hojos. So these niggas is going all out just to goddamn get guardianship over your soul. Just for these false gods to have a strong hold on earth. Because once they get guardianship over your over your soul, and you can inspire them, now they're gonna listen to anything you say. So if them niggas like, yo, build me a temple over here, now you building a temple to your false god. Now your false god from heaven looking down and saying, look, there go my temple on earth. Now I'm establishing my foothold on earth. But once you establish that foothold on earth, all the mortals believing in that doctrine, when they cross over in spirit, they're gonna naturally populate to the heavenly kingdom of that god that they worship. This is the strategies these false gods use to capture souls after death. See that? Things that run deep. Linda, you crazy. They said, that's it. I'm sleeping during the day. Yeah, when you understand that this shit, now, when them Christians used to say that prayer before you go, I know y'all know it. When that prayer, when it be like, would it be like, my soul to take. I remember that part when they say something to my soul to take, pray my soul to take, don't take my soul to some shit like that. That prayer. You used to say that shit, because I remember when I was little, I used to say that shit before I go to sleep. And saying that prayer used to have me scared as fuck. Because you know your mom be like, I say the prayer before you go to sleep. So you're at the edge of your bed, saying the prayer before you go to sleep. And in your mind, you like, damn, yo, what the fuck I gotta say? They're like, it spooks you out a little bit. Now you know why you gotta say something before you go to sleep. See that? So now, verse 9. And now, when the night of battle came, they giving you specifics in this time period of these wars, or these takeover times. They telling you night and midnight. They giving you the specific times that these fallen angels make the attack. But if you notice, when it said the daytime, it said they was lingering in the day, just waiting for the night. So they don't operate too heavy in the daytime, in the light. They wait till the night, because that's where they do their goddamn damage at. Verse 9. And now, when the night of the battle came, the infuriated angel warriors of Tian marched in lines, millions strong, toward the sleeping mortals. See that? Spread broad their great armies, covering the land of Japheth from east to west, north to south. Over Flangelo, the city of the sun, so that's just the name of the city, were sent 30 million of Tian's warring angels sworn to subjugate the people of great learning, alive or dead. What? Alive or dead? Like, yo, I want you to subdue these niggas. The niggas who still living in the spirits of those who think like that, get both of them. See that? They ain't playing no games. It stated what? Tian's warring angels sworn to subjugate the people of great learning, alive or dead, and scatter the angels of Jehovah, or bind them and cast them in hell. Over the city of Pingu, where Tian's hosts 20 million, and over the city of Si and Wang and Hasu and Niking and Zuwu. Each 20 million of Tian's angel warriors. So these niggas got millions of angels going to each city about to make the attack, right? Verse 10. Besides these, there were millions and millions stationed over the great valley of Wan, and in the mountains of Sojan, in the plains of Waogan, were stationed 70 million. 5 million were allotted to each of the following cities. See that? You see how strategically these false gods is strategizing over the land of China to take over? They doing all this just to gain guardianship over borders. Millions of angels is in compact, strategizing just to assume guardianship. All this work for some little shit, right? And then it says what? And over the cities of Si and Wang and Hatzu, Naking and Zhuang, each 20 million of Tian's angels of war. Verse 10. Besides these, there were millions and millions stationed over the great valley, Wan, and in the mountains of Sojan, in the plains of Waogan, were stationed 70 million. 5 million were allotted to each of the following cities, to wit. And then it just named the cities. You know, these names is crazy, but they just naming the cities. Verse 11. In the mountains of which Haoli were stationed 80 million, laying for the Lycians breed of men on the borders of the sea, for seafaring men, and for their wives and children, were 190 million of Tian's angel soldiers ready for the assault. Besides these, there were tens of thousands of smaller armies stationed in the smaller cities and countries waiting for the signal. All these niggas is strategizing, waiting for the signal to attack. You see how they attacked 9/11? They attacked 9/11. They attacked Washington, D.C. No. What's that? Yeah. The attack of Washington, D.C. and 9/11, wasn't that around the same time? I'm forgetting that shit. But the same way they made that attack simultaneously, just imagine they making an attack like that by the hundreds. Just imagine these false gods make the attack all at one go. Just imagine terrorists hitting all the great 50 cities in one go. Bam! Buildings dropping in the city. 9 o'clock, 9:11 a.m. Breaking news. You know, the cities in every state is on fire. If you hear some shit like that, you know that's a systematic attack. So if we can coin that, if we can do systematic attacks on ourselves, you think the angels can't do it systematically? Not only do they do it systematically, they do it in greater numbers. You see these niggas is moving in thousands and millions. Yo, send 80 million spirits here, 5 million here. Come on, you know what type of numbers is that? 80 million to do an act on one accord? Shit get deep, yo. Shit gets very deep. So now, where we at with it? All right, this is verse 12. So the last one, it says, besides these, there were tens of thousands of smaller armies stationed in the small cities and country places, waiting for the signal. Verse 12. Now, in this age, Japheth, China, had attained to great wisdom in many things, especially, except in war, in which her people were as babies. More than half her people were faithists, followers of Po, worshippers of the Great Spirit. See that? Half the people of China worship the Great Spirit at this time. And they practiced peace and dwelt in communities. See the difference? Even many of the cities were in families of tens and hundreds and thousands, but nowhere more than 2,000. And the city families were after this manner. That is to say, the manufacturers of cloth of wool, one family; of cloth of linen, another family; of cloth of silk, another family. So they're showing you that for each trade, the families ran it. So if you dealt with milking cows, that was your family's business. If another family dealt with, linen, that's another family's business. So each family's business had to deal with trade. And then he said, of paper, another family; of transportation, another family, and so on, till all departments were full. And of these combinations, there were cities of 50,000, and 100,000, and 200 inhabitants, and 200,000 inhabitants. And in the country place there were small cities, whose people tilled the soil, and gathered the fruits of the earth. And they exchanged good with the manufacturers of who dwelt in large cities. See that? They're dealing with trade. I forgot the name of it. They're bartering. Right? So now, verse 13. The government was by priests, one for each communion family. And the priests, who were called Washan, were the receivers and distributors of goods. And they ministered in the temple at the altar of worship in the name of the Great Spirit, or Maz, sometimes called Po-Tien, and sometimes Eolin, and by other names also. Verse 14. Besides the schools and colleges, there were houses of philosophy, and house of prophecy, and house of astronomy, and houses of astronomy. Thousands and thousands. They had thousands of houses of prophecy. See that? You think Israel was the only one giving prophecy? Here go prophecy given to Japheth, the Chinese. Verse 15. The Japhethians, Chinese, were large, being Ahuans, with 1 degree more of the brown people's blood in them than the Persians. They saying that the Japhite got more nigger in them than the Persians. That's crazy. Nor in all the world was there at this time so strong a people, and clean and jovial, high aspirations, with great gentleness. And because the land was tilled and made to bloom on every side, the angels of heaven named it the flowery kingdom. And because the people reveled in song and poetry and oratory, they were called lambs of the Great Spirit in the flush of springtime. See that? All this going on in Japheth. These are the worshipers of the Creator in Japheth we know nothing about, because we just thinking Israel is the chosen. Nah, the Creator got chosen in every country, and they had establishments, and they was prospering, no different than any other chosen people of God outside of the nation. Verse 16. And these things were well known to Dias and to Tien, the false, and to hundreds of millions of the assaulting angels, sworn to subdue them, to Hajjas, or to everlasting destruction. So these peaceful people who ain't bothering nobody, this false God got plans to subdue them. Or if he can't subdue them, I'm going to destroy them. See that? See the nature of these false gods? No righteousness under the sun they coming with. If it ain't my way, it's the highway. You see that? Yeah, there you go, Shebrew. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray to the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. See that? That shit is real. That shit is real. That shit could be real for truth and falsehood, because it could be real dealing with true God. Instead of saying the Lord, of course, we're going to deal with the Creator. And then they could be true to a false God to say that to their mortal prayer to ward off another false God try to assume guardianship. You see that? That shit run deep, yo. Yeah, son L, peace to the God. Appreciate you too, beloved. So check this. We on verse 17. Now check this. But because of the power of Jehovah, with the most faithful of the faithless, the arks and temples of worship had stood unharmed by the satanic raid. Unharmed by the satanic raid. Because of the faithfulness and strength, they couldn't attack because of their strength in the Creator. That's why I say fortify your strength in the Creator. Don't let nobody throw you off your game. Don't let nobody, just because we say Creator gang, and this motherfucker make, don't let the motherfuckers throw you off your dean. Because if you allow that, you're going to show weakness in faith to the Creator, and now they got you up here playing mental games on your ass. Shake that shit off, especially if it ain't goddamn true. So right here it states what? It states what? But because of the power of Jehovah, with the most faithful of the faithists, meaning the best of the best in your camp, the strongest believers in your camp. It says the arks and temples of worship had stood unharmed by the satanic raid. See that? So the satanic raid can't get to you if your faith is fortified and powerful in the Creator. They'll have to use other methods to get at you, but this method ain't working. So it says equally so let me run that from the beginning again. But because of the power of Jehovah with the most faithful of the faithists, the arks and temples of worship had stood unharmed by the satanic raid. Equally so, the Tian failed to overpower the great spirit guardians angels. See that? They couldn't overpower the guardian angels because of the power of faith you have. So now, after due preparation, the time came for another contest, this time upon the least Jehovians like of mortals. See that? So he said, yo, we can't get these niggas. Their faith is too strong in Jehovah. So what we're going to do, we're going to seek out the ones who dislike Jehovah, who don't really rock with the faithists, who don't believe that that's the way. They believe in something else, or they just don't believe, period. So this is what he's saying. He said, what? He said, so now after due preparation, the time came for another contest. So he said, all right, that ain't work. We're going to try this. This time upon the least Jehovian-like of mortals. Verse 18. On the other hand, the true God, Son of Jehovah, sent word from his throne in Cryoshiva to the guardian angels dwelling with these mortals. So unmindfully of the Father's care. So right here, Jehovah's true God got word that these niggas about to make an attack. So right there, you see that it says, on the other hand, true God, Son of Jehovah, sent word from his throne in Cryoshiva to the guardian angels dwelling with these mortals. So unmindful of the Father's care, he said, come defeat or disaster or terrible darkness overpowering your utmost strength. Still struggle ye in the name of Jehovah. So he's like, true God got wind of what's going on. So he's like, all right, yo, tell the guardian angels to fortify themselves, because these other niggas about to try to make another attack. And I want y'all to be on point. So now, the true faith is knowing nothing impractical, but does his utmost for his highest light. Through failure, stare him in the face. Hold up, I like that line right there. It says, the true faithist knoweth nothing impractical, but does his utmost for his highest light, though failure stare him in the face. So even though you know you meeting defeat, you still stand strong on your square. You still don't give in. That's what it's saying here. Now it states, what? For once distrust of weakness enters the human soul, the man slideth backward down the hill of faith, while he who will not consider results except to serve Jehovah right on, fail or not, rise even though his project failed. See that? See that? Even though you think you failing and you doing your best, you still rising. You still progressing. But notice what it said about those who was weak in faith. It says what? For one distributes of weakness enters the human soul. For once distrust of weakness enters the human soul, the man slide backward down the hill of faith. See that? If you showing weakness of faith in the Creator, these niggas they're gonna find a way to get to your ass. You gotta be 100%, 100% strong in the Creator. Any percentage dropping, they getting to you. If you got 75% faith in the Creator, that means 25% is open for these drudges to attack. If you got 50% faith in the Creator, that's a whole 50% drudges can attack. So again, verse 19. For once distrust of weakness enters the human soul, the man slides backward down the hill of faith. That could even go on some street shit. You know, that's your man and them or whatever. Then somebody tell you some shit about your man, whisper some shit in your ear about your man that could not be true. It could be a rumor. And you start second guessing your man, knowing that that's your man and you know him for he 100, but somebody done put some shit in your head about your man, and now you second guessing, sliding backward in the faith of having trust in your man now, and you looking at him sideways. Same concept. See that? That's why your life experiences will teach you so much, and then when you read shit like this, you can cross-relate it. But if you've never been through no shit like this, you can't relate to this shit. So it says, for once distrust of weakness enters the human soul, the man slideth backward down the hill of faith. While he who will not consider results except to serve Jehovah, right on, failure or not, riseth, even though his project fail. See the difference in service? The service of the Creator ain't got shit to do with right or wrong, good or bad, prosper or failure. It's doing the do. You see what I'm saying? If Jehovah told you to go out there and cut the grass, cut the grass. Regardless if that shit look good or not, nigga, cut the grass. You did your part. That's what it's saying here. That's what it is to have faith in the Creator. It says what? While he who will not consider results. So I'm doing this. I'm serving the Creator. I don't care what the results do. If the Creator said clean up hell and I did what I had to do and I ain't accomplished clean up, I did my part. That's what it's saying. To the best of your ability. While he who will not consider results except to serve Jehovah, right on, failure or not, riseth, even though his project fail. Verse 20. With this and no other word from Jehovah, the faithless stood about their weak and helpless wards on the low earth, waiting for the 1,000 million of tens, but not in any lengthy suspense. For when the sun stood with the widest part of the earth between the midnight hour, the militants came rushing on with the oath most hideous, and by their dense flood of numbers reached the sleeping mortals and laid hands on them. But when did this happen? Between the midnight hour, midnight, right now. See, if your ass was sleeping right now, they could be doing this shit to your ass trying to get to your soul. Good thing we woke. They can't fuck with us when we woke. Oh, well, they could fuck with us when we woke because they could hurtle sounds in the house and have you thinking somebody in your house and it's these motherfuckers playing games. You start hearing voices. Where that voice come from? It's these niggas playing games with your soul. Fraser, yes, these false gods can be empowered by worship. When you worship in Jesus Christ, these false gods is verily charging up. They're getting empowered by you calling on Jesus Christ. When you call on Allah, Allahu Akbar, they're charging up. They're getting charged by you calling on these deities. You know what I mean? They're fortifying your faith in the God, so when you cross over, they can make you a subservient subject to that false God. Now check this. Verse 21. Let me read verse 20 one more time, then go on to verse 21. With this and no other words from Jehovah, the faithless is those who serve the Creator, stood about their weak and helpless wards on the low earth, waiting for the 1,000 million tens, or the angels of 10, but not in any lengthy suspense. For when the sun stood with the widest part of the earth between the midnight hour, the militants came rushing on with oaths most hideous, and by their dense flood of numbers reached the sleeping mortals and laid hands on them. Verse 21. Then with joy run to madness because of triumphant, set hurling round about appearances in the dwellings, and in many places with audible speech, thus held forth in the dark to frighten mortals. See that? But the way they was able to do this is once they gained hold of the mortal. Once they laid hands on the nigga, then they was able to do all this abnormal activity in the crib. You know what I mean? Because they using your energy. They drawing your sustenance. They using your vortexian energy with theirs to do these things. And then it said, what? In many places, with audible speech, thus held forth in the dark to affrighten mortals. Verse 22. From Sanctu I come, to lay in the dust every mortal born that will not bow down in reverence to Hojos, ruler of worlds. Give ear, O man, the angels of heaven's creator is let loose upon a disobedient race. See the tactics they're using to try to convince these mortals? And this is voices that's you hearing in your house at midnight. Verse 23. And then to give semblance of truth to the words, the angels intruders let fly such knocks and poundings that they were moved many a house on its foundation, and roused the mortals panic stricken to find the cause, or to hasten them quickly to repentance and prayers. So just imagine these motherfucking angels knock the foundation off your house 3 feet. Which one of you niggas ain't gonna go run to the church and pray to God? When you got angels going to that extreme to do shit like that. It's one thing when they may make a book fly across the room, or you may hear a sound in the house, but to knock the foundation off your house and move that shit, yeah, that'll cause a nigga to go crazy. I think that was in a movie too. Was it The Exorcist? I think it was Poltergeist. I think in the movie Poltergeist they showed that shit where the house was being tampered with it towards the end of the show. I wonder if you could, yo, Sharice, let me tell you something. You know how many dreams I had where I thought I woke up and brought some shit back with me? Because it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, you got some money and you wake up and you're like, damn, nigga, I had a whole bunch of money and I'm broke. You wake up like, that shit was a dream. You swore you brought that shit back with you. That should be crazy, though. Now, check it. Verse 23. Again. And then to give semblance of truth to the words, the angels intruded, let fly such knocks and poundings that they were moved many a house on its foundation, and rose mortals panic-stricken to find the cause, or to hasten them quickly to repentance and prayer. Verse 24. But not all was their victory, for the Jehovians firmly held the power in hundreds of thousands of places, and yet the Teans had a wonderful victory. So although they still got some followers, the Jehovians still stood firm. It said what? For the Jehovians firmly held the power in hundreds of thousands of places. See that? Verse 25. The false god Tien quickly sent word to Dias, exulting and exaggerating the victories won. And in turn, Dias congratulated him and his army, his 1,000 millions, who now archered on the earth. See that? Now they got an archer on the earth. And with mortals frolicked about in all regions. So like I said, the purpose of these false gods is to establish a base on earth, and they're using their sub-gods to do it. Their sub-gods and their warrior angels to do these things. By attacking the oracles, if that ain't working, they can attack mortals in their homes. If that ain't working, go to the ones who are weak in faith and attack them in their homes, and bam, now we got some subjects. Now we got some things. Now we getting somewhere. Because keep in mind, if these false gods could gain followers on earth, guess what these followers is going to end up doing eventually? They're going to be inspired to kill off the followers of the Creator. That's how they get rid of the followers, the worship of the Creator on earth. Because their whole duty is to have dominion over the earth. So the more they have dominion over the earth, the greater their kingdom can expand on earth. But if your ass in the way, if you worship a different God, nigga, you in the way, you got to go. So if we worship the Creator, and some new niggas come on the block say, yo, you got to worship our God. They're like, man, we ain't fucking with y'all niggas. We've been worshiping the Great Spirit. Who are you? They're like, nah, but if you don't worship our God, we're going to slay you. And being that you worship the Creator, you can't go to war. It's 2 things you got to do. All right, these niggas really going to come at us? No, let's flee. Before night, let's go up over here across the mountains. So by the time they come, we gone. Let them have this. And then we just keep moving around. That's how the faithists move. You know what I'm saying? Or if not, they'll get captured and become prisoners to their false God. This shit run deep. So now, where we at with it? Verse 26, and in Japheth, China, in course of time, the same questions arose as in Arabia. Questions from mortals to the spirits as to the destination of the soul of man, as to the origin of things, as to heavenly places, And Tian in turn sent word upon Tadias in Horeb as to what answer should be given. It was thus that he, too, was summoned to Sanctu in Horeb to meet with Osiris, Baal, Ashtaroth, Sudga, subduer of India. See that? So now, these questions, Morals is raising these questions about spiritual things. And then the verse ends, and now it's going to go into the assault raid of India. So what I just read, these things are taking place in China, they're taking place in Africa, and they're taking place in India. This is the method Anuhasa style Lord God and Dais use to take over and control the earth by establishing gods over these countries and then establishing warrior angels to go down to the earth and inspire mortals to them, to their worship. And the Oahspe is laying it out how it's done. Hopefully you don't daydream. You see what I'm saying? I see you. Amu, I see you. Amura, I see you. Much love and respect. Selah, Shalom, I see you, King. Yeah, dirt under my nails and bruises when I wake up. That tripped me out. Yeah, you could be asleep. You could wake up and next thing you know, you feel like, damn, nigga, I got a bruise, or why am I hurting right here? You know, when you go to sleep, you know, you'll be surprised spiritually at the spiritual attacks while you sleep. That shit run deep, yo. I remember when I was young, when I used to stay in New York, my cousin used to sleep. He used to sleep with his eyes open and talking to sleep. I remember one time I was looking at him sleep, he had his eyes open and he was talking in his sleep. I seen that shit, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, I may have been like, goddamn 10, 11 at the time. When I seen that shit, I wasn't even living in New York. We was visiting. But when I seen that shit, now that I understand what the fuck the environment of New York is like and the concentration of people and the concentration of the spirits of the dead in one area, now I understand. I'm like, yo, the spirit was talking through my cousin while he slept. The same shit we reading that these drudges is doing, nigga, I bear witness to that shit. Cause you know, you got people that sleep with their eyes open. And you got people who talk in their sleep. But to see somebody talking in their sleep with their eyes open, that's the most spookiest shit. And I bear witness to that shit, yo. I'm looking at my cousin, I'm like, yo. And he's talking, but it's not like he's making out. It's almost like how they say talking in tongues. When it's like they saying shit, but it's not like you can really understand what they're saying, but they fucking talking. Man, that shit was like that. And I was young observing of this, and that shit never left my head. That shit was like a horror movie when I seen that shit. It was nighttime, nigga was hanging off the bed, his eyes open, he talking, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, yo, get me up out of this motherfucking house shit. What the hell going on here? But it's real though. These things are real, family. And like the Oahspe say, midnight hour is when they attack, when these false gods attack. So you don't want to be playing no games with these niggas. You better fortify your faith in the Creator. If not, they're going to be doing these things. Now, they did the same thing in India. Now, what we just read took place in China. I'm going to give you a little bit of it. This is chapter 25 in the Book of Wars Against Jehovah. Verse 1. Sudga, the false sent by Dais to overturn the Great Spirit's dominion in India, and to establish the highest heavenly place. They call it Horeb. That's they falsely style it after the Horeb, the true God's heavenly kingdom. But it says was wiser than Osiris or Tian in his wicked works. All right, so let me read that. So they're saying Sudga, the false sent by Dais to overturn the Great Spirit's dominion in India and to establish the highest heavenly place, Horeb, was wiser than Osiris or Tian in his work wicked. You see that? So Sudga's like, he like, nigga, if you think Osiris and Tian cold-blooded, nigga, I'ma show you wickedness. So now, it stated what? For he permitted not his army his 1,000 millions to rush on for the place of worship and for the oracle houses. But most deliberately halted his forces in Harayu, the lowest heavenly place of the mountains of Virafat in India, Vivrat in India, 3 miles high and broad as the earth, and a commanding station. Verse 2, whence in a sure way he sent measurers ahead down to the earth to measure mortals as to their weakness and strength in faith of Jehovah or Oahspe. See that? See, these false gods ain't stupid. They're like, all right, go down to the earth and measure these niggas' spirits. Measure their spirits in the Creator. Show me the ones that's strongest in the Creator, and show me the ones that's weakest in the Creator. That's what's going on here. He says, whence in a sure way he sent his measurers on ahead down to the earth. So they got angels where they measure. That's all they do. Not all they do, but that's a category in the heavenly kingdom, a department where they measure the souls of men. To measure mortals as to their weakness and strength in faith of the great spirit, Jehovah or Oahspe, and other rulers heavenly, to map them and mark them and to number them. See that? They strategizing. Verse 3, great was peace and beauty and glory of India in that day. Her rivers and canals coursed the country over, and her industrious sons and daughters, 200 million, were in the eyes of the angels, the pride and glory of the earth. Now keep in mind that we always think that ancient Egypt 6,000 years ago was the only ones that was thriving in civilization. But Oahspe is giving you a rendition that India, China, all these other regions were striving just as well. The only reason that you don't see the histories like you see the histories in Kemet 6,000 years ago is because of the destruction that was done by these false gods. See, Osiris didn't take the destructive route. He took a different route. That's why Egypt is preserved the way it's preserved. But these other false gods, they took a more heinous and wicked route to destroy their mortals instead of educating them. So now, it states what? Hundreds of thousands of her people were prophets and seers. And so abundant was spiritually high amongst the people, that even those who had learned but one language could understand and speak another language with people from remote parts. See that? Words and sentences they had never heard. Even when first meeting strangers, these niggas could pick up and learn a language off the rip. That's some highly intelligent shit. Even those who had learned but one language could understand and speak other languages with people from remote parts. Words and sentences they had never learned. They had never heard. Even when first meeting strangers, like the inhabitants of Japheth as to government and industry, mostly by exchange of goods, and not by buying and selling, lived the Indians or Vindians. This was their weakest point as to an assault. Verse 4, Sudga said to his generals and captains, only by confounding the languages of these people can they be broken up and subdued. So see the approach he taking? We're going to confound these niggas' language. Behold, they are becoming as gods, knowing and understanding in advance of words spoken. See that? He said they're becoming as gods, knowing and understanding in advance. You know, sometimes you could hear a motherfucker about to start a sentence and you could already catch where he going with it. How many times you hear niggas in the debate, they cut him off. Yo, you cut me off, I already know where you going with it. I'm trying to save the argument because I know where you going with it. Same shit. That's godlike, because you could perceive somebody's thoughts before they even finish out their sentence. See that? So it states what? Where we at with it? Like the inhabitants of Japheth as to the government and industry, mostly by the exchange of goods, and not by buying and selling, lived the Vindians. This was their weakest point as to an assault. Sudga said to his generals and captains. Sudga said to his generals and captains. Where we at? Only by confounding the language of these people can they be broken up and subdued. Behold, they are becoming as gods, knowing and understanding in advance of words spoken. What then is their greatest liability shortness, except we confound them suddenly in the meaning of words? Fall ye upon them and possess them, and obsess them, all who are easily captured. Get ye a foothold here and there in the first place, and in their cormorants cripple them. So you see, I mean, these niggas is wicked, bro. These false gods is wicked. Verse 5, Sudga said, it is a strong city that maketh all kinds of goods. It is a weak place indeed that depend on another, which is far off. Such people are easily tripped up. Behold, I will teach these people that I am the militant, before whom every knee shall bow. You heard that before. Or in failing to win them thus, I will set cities against cities, and country places against country places, all against one another, for which their superabundance language will furnish excellent material. So this is strategy by dividing the people, city against city, country against country. You heard that before, right? Verse 6, Sudga opened the door at night for his host to fall on the weakest of mortals. See that again? He said he opened the door at night, so when the nightfall came, here they come. At midnight they strike, and here they come. And it stated what? At night for his host to fall on the weakest of mortals, as to faith in Oahspe, the Creator, who had become as a stale story to hundreds of thousands of men and women. In India, had women risen in knowledge higher than the highest of women in other parts of the world. In the houses of philosophy and houses of science, women were foremost as to men. See that? Look at that. Oahspe is telling you that the women had the highest motherfucking knowledge in the world in India. They outdoing niggas in India. I mean, in China. They outdoing niggas in Africa. They stated what? They said in India had women risen in knowledge higher than the highest of women in other parts of the world. See that? In the houses of philosophy and the houses of science, women were foremost as to men, and skeptical as to the Ahmadiyyan power. So women was running shit. They was the most intelligent at the time, right? You still see that today. A lot of people from India, like if you deal in the hospital world or whatever, them Indians run shit. Them doctors, a lot of them doctors be Indians. Them niggas are smart. They know they shit. Oahspe testifies. Verse 7. On rushed Sudga's legions, and even as Osiris and Teen won in the third assault, so now Sudga in the first. And he too sent word to Dias, and exaggerating beyond all bounds of truth as to his victory. So these niggas be lying, making up shit when they tell their story to Dias, they leader. That's like y'all, you telling your OG, your big homie, how y'all did this over here. Y'all put extra layers on the story just to make it look good before the big homie. You see what I'm saying? Same shit. And then it stated what? Nevertheless, his hosts were sufficiently archered on the earth to claim an everlasting victory for Dias and to establish his name. See that? Verse 8. And here also, after a few years, the questions came from mortals asking, Behold, ye cut off the heavens of the ancients, the Naravinian regions beyond Shinvan. Ye teach us that Dias is the all-highest ruler. What then is the all-highest for man? How cometh he in the world? How come the worlds? Whence came man? How was creation created? These are the stories, these are the questions the wise, the intelligent people are asking who don't serve the Creator, who fell subjects to these false gods. But notice what they said. Notice what they said right here. It stated, Behold, ye cut off the heavens of the ancients, the Naravinian regions beyond Shinvan. The Naravinian regions is the Etherian regions beyond Shinvan. Shinvan is the border of the vortex, slightly past the moon. So they was aware of the Etherian realms. He said, you cut us off from that. And then you told us to what? Ye teach us that Dias is the all-highest ruler. What then is the all highest for man? How came the worlds? Whence came man? How was the creation created? So now they're raising these questions. These questions is going to lead into Anu Hassad style dies creating the creation story for mortals. That 7-day creation story, these are the precursors for the creation story, because mortals started raising these questions about, well, how did creation come about? How did man come about? So when word got back to Darius, the false Lord God, he said, alright, I'm going to give these niggas a creation story. And he gave niggas this 7-day creation story, some fabricated shit, because he had to give something to mortals. So again, it states here what? Verse 9 states what? To answer which Sudga sent to Darius for instructions, and Darius sent to Sudga, even as to the other gods, an invitation to meet in Horeb, to hear the words of the Lord God, to learn his commandments. Verse 10, thus went the 5 great warrior gods before Darius, taking with them each in his 10,000 attendants, besides thousands of trumpeters. Darius had a good fest prepared for them. He had sent receivers forth to meet them and conduct them to sanctuary his great splendor. So, after the false god T and Sudga and Osiris did the assault raids to get a stronghold on the earth, after they did that, the questions rose for mortals about, well, how was things created? Since y'all told us not to follow the Great Spirit, and now y'all telling us to follow this, well, how did this take place? How did creation was created? What is the all highest for man? How was man created? So the false gods, Sudga and Tian, they came back to Darius with these questions, like, yo, these are the questions mortals are raising concerning creation. Darius said, all right, come to my feast, we're gonna have a banquet, and I'm gonna explain creation. This is what you're gonna go back and tell mortals, how things were created. And what Darius gave you after that was nonetheless the goddamn 7-day creation story. So when we go back to the next verse, verse 26, and if we scoot down to verse, let's say 10, this is where Darius, they had, because from verse 1 to 9, it's like they're just talking about the feast and they're eating or whatever. But then verse 10 starts about where Darius responds to the questions by his sub-gods. So verse 10 states, speedily now the attendants took away the tablets, and the hosts all withdrew except the gods, and Darius and his marshals. Whereupon Darius ascended the throne, and then spoke, saying, this is the false god, the head honcho. All that assault raids they did, this is the nigga who they did it for, Darius and Uhasaj. Verse 11, I, the Lord Adonai, your God, El, who am Darius of heaven and earth, declare unto you, my gods, Elohims, and earth rulers in my own name, with love abounding, to declare my doctrine and creation. See that? You remember, they came to him because mortals was raising the questions about how things was created. So now he's going to lay out his doctrine and creation. So instead of what? To declare my doctrine and creation before you, that all the earth may be subdued alike unto me and mine forever. So now he's like, all right, since morals is raising this question, y'all sit down, have a seat. I'm going to tell you how things were created. I'm going to give you my doctrine of creation. That's what he's saying here. Verse 13, to surpass not my own age in my doctrine, nor to explain my axioms, but to surpass the understanding of mortals sufficiently unto their knowledge of earthly things, and so appease their curiosity as to the questions they put ye, my God. See that? So he said, yo, I'm going to give them something, but it's going to be so far past their concept of reality or corporeal things or earthly things that they're not going to too much question it. They're just going to go for it. Like when he says a day is like 1,000 years, niggas ain't going to really question that. They're just going to be like, all right, cool, a day is 1,000 years to God. So he's going to use slogans like that to throw mortals off. And then it states in verse 14, neither will I bind myself like as Ahura. Ahura was a false god in the past. He says, neither will I bind myself as Ahura did. For I will not explain who I am, except that man is in my own likeness, nor when the beginning of things were. So he's telling them like, yo, all right, I ain't going to tell man who I am. That's why in the beginning, when you say in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and God did this, God did that. God is a title. We don't know who God is. God is the equivalent of saying king. God is the equivalent of saying president. So if you was to say, in the beginning, the king created the heavens and the earth, and the king said this was the first day, what are we going to say naturally? Well, king is a title. What king are we talking about? We don't know who he is. And what did the verse say? Neither will I bind myself as Ahura did, for I will not explain who I am. By giving you just a title, you don't know who the deity is. See that? Except that man is in my own likeness, nor when the beginning of things was. This heaven I created, and ye also bear witness that I have established the earth in me through your valorous deeds. I who am your God, look not to matters of a day or a year. My times are as one time, for which this time forth forever, this heavens and earth are mine, times without end. Verse 17, in which ye behold days and years and generations of men on earth pass rapidly. Who then shall think seriously of the inhabitants that now are yours and mine? So he's saying, like, yo, this doctrine I'm laid out, it's really for the generations to come. Because generations come rapidly to these niggas, they spirits. So they see mortals come and go like it's nothing. But he said, this doctrine I'm laying out is going to be for the coming generations. But the generations now, they may not settle the best with it. It may not settle right completely with them, but their descendants, they're going to be caught hook, line, and sinker. So verse 18, behold, the earth is fruitful. 1,000 years are but as one day. And there shall spring up of the earth thousands of millions of souls newborn. For them are my answers shaped more than for such as are now. See that? He already planted that, yo, this doctrine is going to be for the future generations coming up more than for the people who are alive now. And then he said, a day is likened unto 1,000 years. That's what the false God said. That should come from their doctrine. Jehovah never said that a day likened to 1,000 years. Jehovah talked about 3,000 year arc cycles. So that 1,000 year to a day comes from your God, this false God. And then he says, for them, he says, and there shall spring up of the earth thousands of millions of newborn souls. For them are my answers shaped more than for such as are now. And then verse 12, if you want to know where the false story of creation is in the Oahspe, that you have in your Bible where it starts at, it's in the book of Wars Against Jehovah, chapter 26, verse 19. That's where it starts. Verse 19 states what? In the beginning, I created this heaven and earth unto my own name and glory, for they were void and without order. Darkness was upon them, whereupon I moved upon them, saying, let there be light. And there was light, and I drew a line between the darkness and light, for they had worshipped the void instead of me. This is the beginning of the false god, Oahspe style, Lord God and dies, begins his 7-day creation tale. See that? The Oahspe renders up that this shit is false. It's mythical. These niggas made this shit up. He took certain events and records in history and falsified it, modified it, changed it. You see that? Yes, family. So that shit runs deep, yo. Yes. Deep, if religious people knew this, they have to question with God they follow. Yeah. Yeah, once you understand this shit, you gotta go back and question that Bible like, damn, am I really following the right God or am I following the Creator? Who am I really following? If the Oahspe is revealing all this activity about the gods, and your Bible is about God, and your God is angry and jealous, you gotta consider who you following, yo. Oahspe is a landslide when it comes to exposing these false gods. The Bible didn't expose false gods on this scale. You dig? Yes, family, let's raise the music and vibe for a minute, yeah? 1:52 in the AM. And we live vibing, yo. Sometimes you'll catch me out in the late night with it. Yes, family. Hits the vibes. We got 111 views watching. 34 people in the chat. 17 likes. Let's get them likes up, family. Let's raise it to 34. Some of y'all probably watching, listening, laying down, going to sleep to this shit, because that's how we do. So yeah, this shit run deep, yo. We expose all false gods over here just for you to get back and return to the Creator in the Creator's ways. Because it's a vibes, you dig? Yes, family. Vibes are gone. It's a vibes. And like I said, these spirits make their attack at midnight during the sleeping hour. Now this is confirmed with some of these abnormal activities that people actually experience during the night hour. For example, let me see if I can find this one real quick. It's a vibe, yeah? Like, check this.
Says this so-called ghost scratched her daughter Lily and attacked her too.
It scares us that it could do something else. I mean, there was even a morning that I woke up and I had felt like something was around like someone's hands were around my neck.
A team of paranormal investigators came in and tried answering some of the couple's questions and concerns.
She said it felt like the spirit was around her neck.
Jim
like the spirit grabbed her neck.
It may be someone who lived in this house before.
The story that I was told was the gentleman that lived here originally committed suicide, apparently, by jumping out this window. Which is, of course, one full story down.
The couple says they don't know why this so-called ghost is targeting them, but say they don't want any part of it.
It's not physically just going after her. It feels like it's going after myself, too.
I couldn't get an explanation out of it, you know. So it's freaky, is what it is.
For now, Heather and Josh say they will stay inside this place with Lily until they're able to save up enough money and move out. Reporting in Highland Township, I'm Alan Campbell, 7 Action News.
At number 4 now, it is video of the unknown. What is it? Is it real? And what is it doing there? A family in Highland, Michigan believes their house is actually haunted and thinks something is harming their little girl. 7 Action News reporter Alan Campbell went to the home to see for himself.
It happened here in this room as 15-month-old Lily was inside her bed. Caught on camera, something walks in front of her crib, catching Lily's attention. Whatever it is, the family says it needs to go.
It's almost like she sees something that we don't.
It's an image Heather and Josh say is haunting their home.
It was chilling. It was literally a chill down your spine, like that what if.
But notice how the spirit is moving during night.
So, what appears to be something moving in front of the baby crib.
I freaked out. I stopped what I was doing and I ran upstairs and I grabbed my daughter.
Heather says this so-called ghost scratched her daughter Lily and attacked her too.
It scares us that it could do something else. I mean, there was even a morning that I woke up and I had felt like something was around like someone's hands were around my neck.
A team of paranormal investigators.
See what she said? What did she say? She said it felt like something was around her neck. What did we just read in the Oahspe? How these spirits move at midnight, move at night, and their whole duty is to lay hands on you. See that? Let's go. I got another video clip.
All new at 5, spooky security camera footage.
Yeah, a Metro Atlanta mom says it actually shows her son's ghost. CBS 46's Yasmina Alston spoke with some paranormal investigators to see if it's real or if it's a hoax.
Here in Canton, Georgia, a group of paranormal investigators look into the supernatural. So it was only right that we asked them about what a mom says she saw in her security footage.
It's definitely unexplainable.
A Metro mom says her home security footage captured her son's ghost.
Definitely tell that in the photo there is a human figure.
On Facebook, Jennifer Hodge posted that she was watching TV with her daughter when an alert on her phone said, "Your entryway camera saw someone." Here's what it showed.
No one's around at the time and something gets captured that we can't explain.
Hodge posted that the figure looks just like her son Robbie, who died in 2016. Hodge told media outlets her son died of an accidental drug overdose. Now, we showed the pictures to paranormal investigators Heather Thompson and Stephanie Forte with Paranormal Georgia Investigations. They agree with Hodge.
Okay, now I'm understanding what she's talking about, but it was definitely a human figure. I mean, there wasn't anything questionable as to, okay, maybe that's a curtain that's billowing, or maybe that's, an appliance. That's definitely a human figure.
The two are part of a group that investigate homes and businesses of those who think they're dealing with the paranormal. They tell me security footage can be helpful, but to confirm, an actual home visit would be necessary. Hodge posted she is happy to be able to know her son is always with them.
I'm glad that she's happy. I'm very glad that she's comforted and that this brings her joy, because I wish more people would have that type of reaction to paranormal activity.
In Canton, Yasmina Alston, CBS 46 News.
See that? So we got evidence from the goddamn media, the news, showing you spirits lingering in homes. And we just read you a whole breakdown in the Oahspe, how these angels can interfere with mortals during the midnight hour when your ass sleep. These niggas walking around your house. You see how the baby woke up when the spirit walked past the baby's cage or whatever, the baby's bed. The baby got up and was like, the baby was on game. The baby felt the spirit in the house and got up. I was like, wow, look at that. You see what I'm saying? Sharice, you said it looked like a woman? Okay, no doubt. I didn't even really take a hard look to see if it was a male or female. That's interesting that you peeped that. But yeah, you see how that spirit was just walking in the house? And we caught a glimpse of it? The reason we caught a glimpse of it is why? Coming back to the science. Let's go to the science real quick. This is the reason why that spirit, just like the spirit right here, the reason why we see that spirit, that ancestor right there, the reason why you see it is because of this right here. That right there. That's the reason why you was able to see the spirit, because the spirit slowed down its vibrational frequency enough for you to get a visual of it. The spirit vibrational frequency tapped into visible light, and we got a glimpse of it. So if that spirit tapped anywhere from 400 to 700 nanometers, bam, there you go. We can see it. Although we can see through it, we can still see it. See that? That's what's going on with these spirits, yo. They all around us. And sometimes it's good that the Creator don't allow us to see it, because that shit'll spook us out. Because we're not accustomed to seeing spirits of the dead. We ain't grow up like that. It ain't like we grew up in a family where we did spirit communion and the spirits are just coming into the house daily and having daily activity with us, then go their way, and we see them the next. We not used to that shit. Nigga, we see a spirit today, nigga, we pulling out them hammers trying to kill that shit because we don't understand spirituality. We now getting an understanding of it through books like the Oahspe. Ain't no other book like the Oahspe bringing it out like this. The Bible definitely ain't bringing it out like this. The Bible is like the basic book for your beginning understanding of spirituality, but it's not the end all. The Oahspe is the advancement and the evolution of spiritual revelation, because we're at a time where we need to know these things. You dig? Brandon, what's good? I see you. Shalom. We out here late night with it, dropping some knowledge on the ghost story spooky hours. And that's just one out of many clips speaking of the spirits of the dead. You dig? So these stories, yo, this shit'll spook you out. Let's get some wisdom from Jehovah real quick. It states here, in the Book of Wars Against Jehovah, chapter 30, right? Chapter 30. Verse 9. Jehovah had so made men and angels that whosoever learned to abnegate self and to labor for the good of others was already above grade 50. See that? If you want to be above grade 50, because see, everything is graded. See, these false gods lose sight of that. They start wanting you to worship them and lose sight of the grade. The grade is the foundation of your spiritual growth. Everybody is graded. See that? What did Jehovah say? Jehovah had so made men and angels that whosoever learned to abnegate self and to labor for the good of others was already above grade 50. And his ascension should be perpetual thereafter. While they that were below grade 50, who had not put away self, Satan, should incline downward toward the earth, wherein it had come to pass that the false Lord God and his false gods were burdened with their kingdoms. You know why they were burdened with their kingdoms? Because they're descending downward. They're not ascending upward. They're not graduating and going for Etheria. They've made it to grade 50, and now they're going backward. Verse 10. And though they were adorned to the utmost, having vast cities for their heavenly capitals, with millions of attendants and millions of musicians who were forever inventing new and wonderful music and playing and singing, and millions in concerts with millions of trumpeters, near and far off, to fashion echoes beautiful to the air. And though they had decorators forever inventing and changing their thousands of millions of flags and banners and their ornaments for their paganry, though they had millions of heavenly cities built with heavenly precious stone and gems of splendor, and with roadways and streets paved with heavenly diamonds and pearls, and though they had tournaments and heavenly games and rites and ceremonies, prostration and solutions without end, with great ships heavily capable of coursing atmosphere and journeys and excursion ships to carry hundreds of millions of angels, whose chief occupation was to sing and chant the glory and power of the dominion of Darius and his gods, the holy, holy, holy people. Yeah, though a large book could not contain a description of the 1,000th part of their wonderful glories, yet each and every god began to see coming danger. See that? With all that shit going on, them niggas started to see like, damn, I think I really fucked up. Oh man, now they starting to see that they fucked up. Verse 11, Jehovah said, two precepts have I left open for testing man's strength. And they are great prosperity and great adversity. Verse 12. And behold, Satan came upon them in the guise of a good friend. First he went to Oahspe and said unto him, Thou greatest of gods, who is like unto thee? Behold, I come to thee in the beginning, and told thee what to do, even to stretch forth thy hand, and heaven and earth should be thine forever. For thy own glory, and lo, hath come on finally. Thou hast rooted Jehovah and his host in heaven and earth. They are as a remnant skulking away. Hear me then, O Darius, for I will not only praise thee for what thou hast accomplished, but I will chide thee for thy failings. Verse 13, Darius said, Wherein have I failed, O Satan? And Satan answered him, saying, Thou art too honest for thy own good, too pure for thy own benefit, too unsuspecting as regards thy gods. Being thyself honest, has easily attributed honestly unto others, and they have taken advantage of thee. Verse 14, and Oahspe said, How? Satan answered, saying, In the first thou said to thy gods, Maintain ye your schools and colleges, and factories, and otherwise prepare the spirits of the dead unto resurrection. See that? And as fast as they arrive at grade 50, send ye them to my kingdoms, that Hored may be glorified forever. But lo and behold, thy gods use the angels as slaves to build up the glory of their own kingdoms. They had suffered their heavenly places of education, for the most part, to be scattered and gone. Neither have they inspired mortals to instruction, as I warned thee at the first. And mortals have thrown aside the schools and colleges, and their places of art, and have become riotous and given to gross living. And there is no resurrection in them, which matter shows thee that sooner or later all the spirits of the earth will be of no grade at all. See that? Even Satan got sense to know that you got to rise in the grades, but as fetals and vampires to live upon mortals. See that? This Satan telling Darius like, nigga, you fucked up. Verse 15, Darius said, why are mortals becoming gross livers? Satan answered him, saying, behold, in thy own revelation of mortals, thou hast said to them, partake not of fish, nor flesh, nor blood for food, nor of anything that breatheth the breath of life. And now behold what come to pass. Thy three gods, whom thou hast elevated and trusted, fell to and made others revelations, wherein they said, partake of. See that? It says, wherein partake of fish and flesh, for they desire to please mortals. So just like we say in the Bible, well, how in one breath God say don't eat the animals, and in another breath he talk about clean and unclean meats. But what did Satan say to Darius that the other gods did? He says, thy three gods whom thou hast elevated and trusted fell to and made other revelations, where they said, partake of fish and flesh, for they desire to please mortals. See that? And lo, it hath come to pass that man not only warreth for thee, but he warreth to the right and left, for it is in his blood, after the manner of beasts that feed on flesh. See that? Thy gods have no right to give this law unto man without first consulting thee, to know thy will and pleasure. So here's Satan checking this nigga and Oahspe. Like, yo, you allow these niggas to do whatever the fuck they went, and it went in contrary to what your original doctrine was don't eat the flesh and blood. They came up with a new revelation saying partake of the flesh and blood. Nigga, they were supposed to check in with you before you even let them do that. So now Oahspe's thinking like, damn, Satan got a point. So now, and keep in mind, Satan himself. So he's rationalizing within himself. He's talking within his soul about these things. So he's sitting there like this, doing this, like, while Satan talking to him within himself. See that? So verse 16, and Oahspe said, it is true. What shall I do? Satan said, thou shalt call thy gods before thee and chide them in thy own way, and command them to go down to mortals and reestablish learning and industry instead of war. See that? And Oahspe said, even so shall they come and receive my reprimand. They shall know of a truth that I am the Lord their God. Verse 17. Satan went to the other false gods, even everyone separately, saying unto each, hear me, though, O wisest of gods. Now, see, look at the deception of Satan. Moving around. Now, the other gods are saying what? Hear me, though, O wisest of gods. Who should in fact be at the all highest Godhead in heaven, because of thy great wisdom and integrity. Behold, I come to thee at first, and foretold thee how thy kingdom should become great and glorious, and even so hath it come to pass. When thou puttest forth thy hand to do a thing, it is done. For thou wert born into life different from all others, and for the highest of glories. And because of thy greatness, behold, all the gods of heaven are jealous of the fair, and jealous of thee and fear thee. All other gods of heaven are jealous of thee and fear thee, all of which thou knowest thy own knowledge. Now will I accord this unto thee. I will also chide thee for thy shortness. For because thou art honest thyself, thou believe the same of others. Therefore, thou art cheated and ill-used on all hands in the first, while thou didst send thy highest grades to the Lord God to be his, thou hast robbed thy own kingdom of its finest and best subjects for the glory of Dias. Now look at the deception of Satan. First he came to Satan saying this crazy shit. Now he coming to the sub-God saying like, yo, why y'all sending y'all best to Dias? If you sending your best to Dias, what if your heavenly kingdom? Y'all ain't gonna have no smart niggas. You're gonna have a whole bunch of dumb niggas when you sending the best over here. What you doing? You see that? This is Satan sowing seed of deception. So now, it said what? In the first while, thou didst send thy highest grade to the Lord God to be his, thou hast robbed him. Thou hast robbed thy own kingdom of its finest and best subjects for the glory of Dias. And who is Dias more than thee? See that? Is he not a coward? For he feared to give his own doctrines to mortals, but he abridged his words till they were worthless. And thou and thy fellow gods made his doctrine up in full of him. Thou servest him as if thou were thy superior. See the seeds sown in the deceptions Satan is sowing in the minds of the other false gods. It's like, yo, man, y'all stupid. Why y'all following this dude? He a coward. Y'all, he don't even value his own words. He ain't even go down to the morals. Y'all doing all the work for him. What y'all doing? The deception of Satan. Verse 19. The false god said, Alice, it is true. With all my wisdom, I have acted like a fool. Because I was too honest and pure for Dias and his gods. They have taken advantage of me. What shall I do? Satan said, I told thee at the first that the time should come when thou should rise to be higher than all other gods. Behold, the time is near at hand, when thou shalt strike the blow. Thou shalt not only have thy own kingdom, but the kingdoms of thy company gods, and even Dias shall be tributary unto thee and thine. See that? So now he's telling him like, yo, man, you better than Dias. Didn't I tell you from the beginning that you was going to be the all highest? These are the deceptions of Satan being sold in the minds of these niggas, and they consider him like, you right. Who is this cat? You see that? Division. Verse 29, verse 20. The false god said, what shall I do? And Satan answered, saying, Dias will send the danger to his kingdom, and he will summon his gods for consultation. Be thou ready with thy answers unto him and them, not hastily, for such is the manner of the weak, but most deliberately in high holiness of purpose for the good of mortals and spirits. Thus alike and like spoke Satan unto all the false gods, and they nursed the planted seed, held it in the light and shade to see it grow till it became a very giant of each and everyone's understanding. See that? See the deception of these false gods? See how Oahspe is exposing the deceptions in the seeds planted? And now they're going to go against each other because all of them is going to be egotistical to think, yo, I'm the most high. I'm the greatest of gods. And that's going to stir them right back into warfare. Yeah, yo, this shit run deep. This shit run deep, beloved. Will the Messiah return for Israel? Oh man, will the Messiah return for Israel? I hate to cut it dry, but no. No. We're in a new dispensation of time. Yeshua is up out of here. He gone. Yeshua is in the Etherian realm. He ain't down here with us. There's no purpose for Yeshua to return. Once you understand the order of the heavenly kingdom, now, Yeshua could return, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be in the pretense of the context of how you have it in your Bible. The only way Yeshua will return is to help resurrect the graves of mortals and will help resurrect the graves of angels in the heavenly realm. So you may have a group of angels in the heavens who believe that Yeshua was supposed to come back, or who believe that Yeshua is going to be sitting on the right throne, on the right hand of God. So this false god, heavenly kingdoms are set up in the atmosphere. So they become worshipers of these false gods and thinking that Jesus is on the right hand. And they become bound in that heavenly kingdom. And that heavenly kingdom becomes populated over the course of time with millions of spirits. So a lot of time what happens is that The Etherian angels got to come down and let these niggas know, like, bro, you can't tell these niggas that you the Most High. Look at your heavenly kingdom. It's growing in number, and they're not growing in grade. And next thing you know, they're going to start to decline and become drudges and become warring angels. So in order to prevent that, these angels come back to say, like, yo, don't worship me. So if Yahshua was to come back, he'll come back to tell niggas, don't worship me, worship the Creator. But he told you niggas that on earth anyway. So it's a misunderstanding in doctrine if you believe that Yahshua supposed to be worshipped. In the Oahspe, Yahshua said don't worship him. Worship the Creator only. See that? False gods is the ones who profess a second coming, like they're going to come back and do destruction and destroy the nations and then reign for 1,000 years. That's a false god's doctrine. The Creator's doctrine don't work like. The Creator's doctrine is not about going back to the earth. The Creator's doctrine is up and out. So for example, let me go back to the basic, the grades. The heavenly kingdom. So when you see this is school. This is the blueprint for your spiritual resurrection right here. You are graded from 1 to 99. 1 is the lowest grade, 99 is the highest. So every human being and every angel that is subjected to the earth and its atmosphere are graded in these numbers. See that? Grade 50 is the medium. That's the midway point. If you're above grade 50, you know what I mean? You possibly, if you keep it up, you on the right way to go into Etheria. But a lot of angels reach grade 50, reach grade 70, and even grade 80. And then fall backwards into disbelief in the Creator and start worshiping a deity. So say that deity got a grade 65. So you can't raise no higher than that grade that the deity got. Because that deity is cutting you off from getting higher grades than a 50 or 65 if that's where he resided. So let's just say that the false, say Dias, that false guy got grade 50. That's where his measuring point out of his works is grade 50. All angels coming up under him cannot rise above grade 50. They subjected to that grade. Because he cut off the higher heavens to reach grade 60, 70, 80, and 90. So everybody in this heavenly kingdom can only rise to grade 50. And then after there is no progression, these heavenly kingdoms will begin to break away from the false god and start other heavenly kingdoms of their own because there's no progression. And they feel like, yo, I can start my own thing and I can be more inventive and more creative than this god particularly. And they break away and start their own thing. That is this, and then another false god. That false god may break away and his grade may be 40. So everybody running up under his kingdom can only be grade 40. And then the grades start to descend and go. And then once they fall to a grade 1, they become a drudge, a spirit of darkness, a wandering spirit on the earth. All angels that are grade 1 are wandering spirits on the earth. Once you obtain a grade 50, that means most of your time is in atmosphere. You're not on the earth plane no more. You're in the atmospheric planes. And if you in grade 99, you ain't got too much nothing to do with earth no more because you're about to graduate into the Etherian realm. So your preparations is more, it's like, nigga, the third heaven is like the airport. It ain't got nothing common with regular everyday life as far as, going to the grocery store, just driving down the street. The airport is like some technological advanced shit. The runways, landing and rising. The airport is the place of the harvest. That's the third resurrection. When you're getting ready to fly up out of here. See that? So for Yahshua to return, his only duty was to teach mortals how to rise in the grades. So if you got a whole bunch of Jesus freaks, or you got a whole bunch of people that just believe in Jesus, and you got a whole bunch of Israelites that believe Yahshua, and they replacing Yahshua with the Father. You got some people who believe that Yahweh came in the flesh of Yahshua. You got people that believe that. And that the Almighty Creator incarnated as a man. You got people that believe that. So when you cross over in spirit, you're going to still have that belief. And you're going to have a deity that may play out that belief like he's that deity. And now you're in trouble. Now it's more work to be done because now you got to overthrow the deity for you to break free from the doctrine. See that? But if Yahshua was to come back, he'll come back first to tell you that don't worship me, worship the Creator. And let me show you how to rise in the graves. But he ain't going to come back to do that because he already laid all that out when he came. You have all that in your doctrine. do unto others as you was want to do unto yourself. He came with that already, so why would he come back only to tell you the same things you already know? So he's not making a second coming because the heavenly kingdoms are already arranged for your resurrection. And there's angels that'll assist you in your resurrection. So there's no need for him to come. How you understanding? This is why the Oahspe is advanced spiritual knowledge. Exactly. Exactly. Freedom. Freeborn was good. Peace. Freeborn. He was stoned to death. That's right. Freeborn. That sounds like a 5% name. Freeborn. Let's rise the volume. Let me dump these ashes right quick. Let me rise the volume. Because it's a vibe. You know how we do. We late night with it tonight. Yeah, family. We late night with it tonight. It's a vibes. Praise to the Creator. It's a vibes. Yes, family. You know how we do. Fear, we don't move with fear over here. There's no need to fear. Fear is a weakness of faith. Our Creator showed us, be mindful of fear. Ain't no fear over here. Ain't no fear over here. Ain't nobody to scare. Brandon, I see you. What's good? It's an angel in Revelations that tells a man, get up, don't worship me. Showing how easy a man can be deceived by a fallen one. True indeed. That's in Revelations when I think it was John went to bow down and the angel said, nah, brother, I'm your brethren, yo. Don't bow down and worship me, but worship the false gods that sit on the throne. He's the one who's worthy of worship. The angel didn't say, don't worship me, like worship the Creator. He didn't say that. The nigga said, worship the one sitting on the throne. Jesus, worship Jesus. People worship Jesus, yo. You have people who believe that the Father incarnated into Jesus. But then people with common sense say, well, if Jesus is the Father or Jesus is God, who was he calling upon on the cross? Can't call on somebody else if you that else. If you that other. If you the Father in heaven who incarnated on earth, you can't be calling on nobody in heaven. You here. You're supposed to get off that cross and just go into some robot mode. Like, nigga, here I am. I'm God. I can do whatever. So it's contradicting verses in the Bible to show that Jesus did call on the Father. So how can he be the Father calling on the Father? See that? Selah, do you believe that we are in the Matrix? Of course I believe we in the Matrix. The Matrix is one of the best movies ever made, giving you an understanding of the spiritual world and the physical world. The physical world was the Matrix. The subjective reality and all that was the Matrix. But the real world, when he woke up out the Matrix, he was like, yo, this shit is the real world. It's like the spiritual side. Yeah, the Matrix is deep, yo. Cherie said facts. It is the Matrix. Yeah, we definitely live in the Matrix. We definitely live in the Matrix. Matter of fact, I was watching that shit the other day. And if you notice, in the Matrix, right? That part when Neo and Morpheus went into the subjective reality. The subjective reality meaning the simulation world. When they was in the let me see if I can pull up a picture. Let's see if I can pull up an image when they in the in that realm. All right, there you go, right there. Bomb. Let me use this picture right here. Let me use this picture in the blood clot. I'm gonna find something to play with. All right, hold on. Yeah, yo, we got something now. We gonna touch on this Matrix shit. The construct, that's what it is. The construct. Yes. When they went into the construct. Yeah, I got you now, fam. Bear with the God. Bear with the God. Alright, that's enough for that. Let me go ahead and upload it now. So check it. Hey, y'all remember this scene in The Matrix? This is what I'm talking about. When Neo went into the program of The Matrix, this was the construct. I call it the simulation world, the simulation field, the sender field in Kung Fu meditation. They call it the sender field. When you meditate and you go into that field. So this is the construct in the Oahspe, in The Matrix. This is the program. So from here, Neil is like, yo, the fuck is this? Because you remember, Leo was sitting in the chair and they plugged the connection to the back of his skull. They put the cord in the back of his head. As soon as he tapped in, he's in this program. He's in the construct, right? So the construct is the loading program. This is the subjective reality. This is the dream world. In this dream world or in this construct or this simulation, you can upload anything you want. So that, you know, let me see if I can upload the part where he on the ceiling, he about to make the jump. Because that was the first program he uploaded. When he had to jump. But when he uploaded the program, it was so realistic that he couldn't separate the fact that he know it's not real. But when he uploaded that shit, he was like, yo, this shit is too real. He's like, am I really gonna fall? They don't have a good picture of that, but you know, I know this picture right here. See, now that's the part when he looked at Neil and said, free your mind, because they uploaded the program. So first they sitting here in the white backdrop in the construct, and then when one of them upload the program, now it's a city, and he's standing on a building. So Neil looks like, yo, what the fuck? He looks over like, damn, nigga, like, we really here? How this work? This is the subjective reality. This is what the Oahspe calls subjective heavens, where the angels create a simulation world, a false reality for mortals or drudges to train their senses to get back to who they are. Let me give you an example of a subjective heaven. It's in the book of Fraggle Patty. Let me see. talks about mirrors and lenses that's created to create these subjective heavens. See that? Let me see. Let me see, because I think they got it in the backdrop. Yeah. So these subjective heavens are like the construct in the matrix. Let me see if I can pull up a verse on the subjective heavens real quick. 195. Alright, here we go. Let me pull it up. 195. So for example, like I said, that's the construct in the matrix, the white backdrop. Then they upload the program. Here's another quick picture right quick when they showing the uploading of the program. I think this is on the yeah, this is on the same matrix one too. When they show you this part. I remember that scene when he with Neil. I mean he with old girl. I forget her name. When he with old girl, and he like, yo, load up some guns, a whole bunch of guns. She like, no, nobody ever did this, and boom, here come the array of guns. So that's the construct. They'll go in the construct, and then they'll construct whatever they need to go into the matrix to fight the battle. But in the Oahspe, it states here, for example, it states after this is in the book of Fragapati, son of Jehovah, chapter 21. After Fragapati had examined the places of the asafs and the physicians and such other places as belong in the lower heavens, he descended to Hauchtadua, the land of delusion. See that? That's Hauchtadua, just the name of the heavenly kingdom. But he says what? The land of delusion, the construct, the happy hunting ground, in order to witness the games and tournaments which were so far maintained by great expenditure of labor on the part of the Etherians for teaching by subjective illustrations. See that? By teaching by subjective illustrations. So the construct in the Oahspe is the land of delusion. The loading up of the program is what? The subjective illustration. The subjective illustration is the part when Neil was saying he had to jump across, and Morpheus was like, free your mind. See that? That's the subjective illustration in the construct, in the land of delusion, that Neo had to be tested in. Now verse 2, as a mortal child can be taught by objective illustration, so have I created in my spirit worlds capable of similar processes subjectively. My rules are not man's rules, nor are my worlds illustrated as man illustrative. Behold, my rainbow, which is a subjective illustration to mortals of a bow, without the substance of a bow. But man bendeth a stick and saith, behold the bow, and he holdeth it up, but mine he cannot touch. I give to mortals to teach their sons and daughters many combinations by use of objects, that they should know a circle, a square, a triangle, or learn to compute numbers by the use of objects. Inversely, in the same way I created subjective means for the spirits of the dead, that they may be taught and amused with my work. So see that? So by Neil tapping into the matrix, he's tapping into the dream state, the subjective world, and he has to learn in that subjective world to be sufficient in the matrix. Verse 5, to the spirits of mortals who die in infancy, I give spiritual eyes and spiritual ears, but without cultivation. No, hold on, let me skip down. Let me skip down to verse 8. All right, so check it. And ye shall create mirrors and lenses and optical illusions and delusions, and provide games and entertainments for them, so that their understanding may be opened up for the glory of my kingdom. So that's just like Neil. So Neil is in the construct, and in the construct, you could create mirrors, lenses, and optical illusions and delusions, providing games and entertainment. So one of the entertainments was him jumping across to the next building. And Morpheus saying, free your mind. And then Morpheus runs and jump. So they're practicing in the construct, uploading a program, which is the exact same thing in the Oahspe, where it states, ye shall create mirrors and lenses and optical illusions and delusions and provide games and entertainments for them. For who? The ones who's training in the subject, who's being learned, being brought up, so that their understanding may be opened up for the glory of my kingdoms. Now in the Matrix, Neil was the one. So by him learning and training in the construct, he becomes a glory to what? The Matrix, for those who believe in him. What Morpheus is like, you're the one. The whole purpose of Morpheus was finding the one. Neil had to be trained up, and he, being the one, was in denial of being the one because his faith wasn't fully in the one. That's why I say your faith got to be strong in the Creator. He had doubt. So again, it states, let me see another verse where it talks about the subjective illustrations. Okay, it states here that, I'll read verse 8 again and go on. And ye shall create mirrors and lenses and optical illusions and delusions and provide games and entertainment for them, so that their understanding may be opened up for the glory of my kingdoms. When the Avalanza, or spaceship, arrived at Hacha Dawa, it was lowered and made as an observatory in order to witness what was going on, and yet so provided that it could be moved about from place to place. And they witnessed the heavenly tournaments and games, the boating and fishing and hunting, and all other entertainment representative of what these angels had been engaged in mortal life. And yet these things were subjective and not real. See that? So the same way Neo was in the Matrix, in the construct, about to jump over the building, Morpheus saying free your mind, this nigga done lost sight that this shit ain't real. He thinking he like, damn nigga, this shit too real for me to think that shit ain't real. But it's fake. As real as it is, it's a subjective reality. And the purpose of this subjective reality is to train the senses of the fallen spirits back to what they accustomed to. Rouse them up of what they did on earth, and then from there we can move on with them. See, this is strategies that these Etherian gods got to use to awaken the spirits of the dead. Verse 11. But it came to pass that many drudges were restored to memory of earth life. See that? Restored to seeing and hearing, and in fact to know they had entered another world. Illustrating to their dull senses that it was possible for them to learn to see things and to hear things understandingly. Nevertheless, there were within these regions hundreds of millions of angels so stupid as to be void of form and expression. And Jehovah had said, when a man hath fainted, thou shalt arouse him by calling his memory to things past. And when the drudges in heaven have seen who he is, and his place also, thou shalt show him symbols of things past, and thus awaken him. See the wisdom of the Creator? Jehovah has said, behold, O man, thou art the chiefest glory of my creation. Neither created I any animal that walk on the land, or flieth in the air, or swim in the water, or that crawl on its belly, with desire for spiritual life, nor with the capacity to accumulate spirituality, but to thee, O man, only have I given power to aggregate the spiritual entity. Now, right there, Jehovah's saying like, yo, these drudges forgot that they was alive on earth. They forgot they lived the earthly life. So they use earthly images subjectively to restore their mind so they can recall so they can recall themselves, so they can recall their consciousness and have memory. So this is the wisdom of the Oahspe. Yeah, so this shit runs deep. This shit runs deep, family. See that? We can go into the movies and still reference Oahspe with certain things to get validation. See that? It said the guy who wrote the Oahspe the guy who wrote the Matrix read the Oahspe. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these people are aware of the Oahspe and maybe vaguely put it in their movies and stuff like that. You If I was a movie director on Asking on Hollywood, bro, I would have been to the Oahspe movie. The same way they did Passion of the Christ, nigga, I would do the story of Zarathustra on their ass. Or the story of China or Capilia, some of the prophets, or Iwata of North Watama, North America. You dig? Is anything in the Bible true? Yeah. When the Bible say thou shalt not kill, that's true. When the Bible say thou shalt not take what's another's and bear false witness, those are true things. See, what you have to do is distinguish the actions and character and behavior, what is spoken, to determine if it's coming from the Creator or not. So you have quotes in the Bible that is from the Creator, and then you have quotes in the Bible that comes from the false gods. But then you have to really navigate, sift, and assort these things. Because if one breath God tells man, thou shalt not murder and thou shalt not kill, that's right and exact. But then another breath, God down the line is saying, go kill off man, woman, and children. So if that's that same God, we can't be too sure of this God. Because he told us a righteous thing at first, now he's telling us to do unrighteous acts. So the word of the Creator don't change. If it's thou shalt not murder, it's thou shalt not murder. In the Oahspe, from beginning to end, Jehovah is thou shalt not murder. But he gives you free will to do what you want. So although the law is thou shalt not murder, you can still go out there and murder. But there's a consequence spiritually. It's a spiritual conditions that come with that. And it's those spiritual conditions through warfare and murder that Jehovah say, yo, don't murder, because by doing that, you're going to create these hellish conditions in spirit. These spiritual hellish conditions. You're going to create spirits with vengeance and anger on their souls because they got killed. So somebody kill you, you're going to be mad at them in spirit, right? And multiply that by 100 and 1,000, a nation of people going through all that. See that? Would you ever mess with magic? No need to. You know, no need to. Shit, magic is done every day, really. When you wake up, it's magic. When you go to sleep, that's magic. Sleep is a spell. You know that, right? Sleep is a spell. You can't conquer sleep. When sleep come for your ass, yo, try to stay up as long as you can. Sleep gonna put your ass out. Sleep is a spell. That shit'll knock your ass out. It's magic. You know what I mean? Your very existence is magic. Said good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. You know what I mean? All them little catchphrases and slogans had some meaning. Never seen any of the movies though. You ain't seen The Matrix? Yo. But there's people who ain't never seen The Matrix, like The Green Mile. I ain't seen The Green Mile till recent. And that shit came out back then. King Cyrus? What about King Cyrus? The Babylonian king? I spoke earlier and talked about how the Babylonian, that they had to learn the Babylonian literature. The false gods. $2:46, we up late with it. Yeah, family. Spooky hour. So we validating and showing and proving, like, yo, that these spiritual revelations that the Oahspe talk about, it's real. Not everything is going to come through academia. Not everything is going to come through scholarship. Some things is going to come through people who don't have no clue of what we talking about, but they experience these things. Yes, family, let's bring that up some, yeah? Just vibe out for a second. Eliyahu, Yeremiyahu, what's good, King? We up in here late night with it. You know what I mean? Dropping some information on the spirits, the angels, and their dwellings, their interference with mortals. Hits the vibes. Cause it's a vibes. Does the Oahspe see anything about the Nephilims? Well, see, the Oahspe talks about the Genesis account being created by the false gods and Oahspe, but they do talk about giants, you know what I mean? Talk about giants and stuff like that. Not like the like in the book of Enoch, like the fallen angels. Like the book of Enoch goes into the fallen angels and the shit that they was doing with man and things of that nature. The false account, the fallen account, I should say. Now Enoch was taken up. But see, in the book of Enoch, it had Enoch was taken up to God. You know what I mean? And then he beheld God, but that's not the creator. Nor did it distinguish that God clarified that he was in service of the creator. He clarified that he was the deity. So these are the things you gotta, not you per se, but people gotta consider when dealing with these holy books. If a deity go to if a prophet is chosen and then he say, yo, well, you know, I am the most high God, and he a man, you gotta consider like, yo, this how can he be the most high? And he's in the image of a man. No doubt King create a gang. You see what I'm saying? Gotta be mindful, yo. Everybody wanna focus on just being the Hebrews. It was a beautiful thing when you found out you was the people of the book. You know what I mean? Ain't no doubt. But see, the evolution don't stop there. It don't stop at the Bible. Keep in mind, at one point there was no Bible. Remember, it was life before Moses. Moses is the ones who got the instructions. These things that the Hebrew Israelites are strung upon was the instructions given from Moses. But prior to Moses, there was no instructions. But the Creator was still reaching his people, right? It was still commandments of the Creator prior to Moses. When God spoke to Abraham, there was no Torah. See that? What was the doctrine of Abraham? What was the doctrine of Abraham? Can't answer that. But there's a universal doctrine of the Creator. So if the Creator comes to anyone, it's going to be the same principle thing. The Creator ain't going to come to the Israelites and say one thing, and then go to the Persians and say another thing, and go to the Indians and say another thing. It's one universal doctrine. You see what I'm saying? It's one universal doctrine. You dig? This why the Oahspe is cold-blooded, Joe. They got the story of Confucius, as you know. So I'm gonna start touching on some of the other subjects. We're gonna go into the goddamn Sanskrit, the Vedas, the Confucius doctrine, the story of Confucius. The story of Confucius is illy. I'm a member from Zimbabwe. Freeborn, okay, no doubt. We got Zimbabwe in the house. From Zimbabwe. You know what I mean? The ancient land of Ham, Kush, Al-Kibulon, whatever name you want to call the land. Check this out. Check this out. See, these false gods, that's a beautiful thing that the Oahspe reveals the nature of these false gods so you can't be deceived never ever again. Because it exposed so detailed their tactics. It's like, oh, them niggas did that? Okay. They come with that again, it ain't gonna happen. Yo, this the 49 Saviors. It talks about the era of the 49 Saviors. Yeah, yo, this shit. I did videos on, of course, all these things. It says, by the same army of angels that inspired these priests and musicians to miracles and the preachings of the Trinity doctrine, were they also betrayed, suffering death by enemies who were inspired by the same angel host to that end. These angels is cold-blooded. They'll play both parties. They'll play, like how they say the Republican and the goddamn Democrat is on the same wing of the bird. You heard what this shit just said? These niggas playing both sides. It says, but the same army of angels that inspired these priests and musicians to miracles and the preaching of the Trinity doctrine, were they also betrayed, suffered death by the enemies who were inspired by the same angel host to that end. So let's use Jesus and the Pharisees, because the Pharisees hated Jesus. They the ones who wanted to kill him. So the angels that's inspiring Jesus doing all the miracles is the same angels that are inspiring the Pharisees to kill Jesus. They're playing both sides to that end. You see how wickedness, the Oahspe reveals the nature of these spirits? And the extent that they would go to accomplish the gold? You see what I'm saying? That's why the shit deep, yo. That's why you gotta fortify your strength in the Creator, because these niggas is tactical out here. These spirits ain't stupid, these niggas is tactical. And you gotta be more tactical than them to overcome them. And the only way you can be more tactical than them to overcome them is by putting your faith in the Creator. And the Creator gonna give you wisdom and knowledge and understanding to deal with the situation. No, this is in the Book of Wars? The Book of Esra? Verse 39. When God, son of Jehovah, saw that the work of the truants, he bewailed the ways of heaven. Jehovah said to him, bewail not, my son. See, this is Jehovah. See, the false gods is doing their thing, doing all that deceptive shit. True God is bewailing like, damn, can't believe this shit is going on under my watch. I'm supposed to be a beacon light, and these niggas over here making me look bad under my reign. So God is bewailing, true God. But then Jehovah comes to him and says, what? Bewail not, my son, nor grieve for what they have done. Jehovah didn't tell God, yo, get 1,000,000,000 warring angels and we're going to go destroy those false gods for breaking away from your commandments. Jehovah ain't say that. What did Jehovah say? Bewail not, my son, nor grieve what they have done. But make thou a record of their works, for mortals will preserve a history of this period, which shall be called the era of saviors. And this shall stand as the darkest era in the cycle of bond. And this time period, family, is like 9th, 8th century, 9th, 8th, 7th century BC. That's this time period, the darkest era. But it shall come to pass on the earth that the truants, the Trinity, will cut themselves off in a way they see not. For mortals will worship the saviors, whereupon the Trinity will become divided in their heavenly kingdoms. So God bewailed no more, but prepared a new army of 1,000,000,000 angels to go down to the earth to provide for receiving the spirits of such as were slain, as were sure to be slain in war near at hand. See that? True God is sending an army of angels to receive the spirits that's going to be slain by the battle of the false gods. And those that are slain is going to be received by true God and taken to the heavenly kingdom. So sometimes those slain on the battlefield are not going to linger on the battlefield. They're going to be received by true God's host and taken to be restored. You see that? But your false God in the Bible is the one going out there doing battle. How many verses we could pull out the Bible where God got his hand in war? He's delegating and dealing in warfare. death dealing in war. We got that about God. But what did Jehovah say in his time? What did he do? What did God, true God, do? So God bewailed no more, but prepared a new army, a gang of 1,000 million angels, gang, to go down to the earth to provide for receiving the spirits of such as were sure to be slain in war near at hand. So God got a plan of salvation. He got a plan of redeeming. Prepare yourselves on these battlefields, so when the spirits of the dead are slain, go ahead and bring them. Take them off the battlefield. Right? Verse 5. Of these hosts, Edemus was given command, and he appointed the following officers, to each 100 millions to go with him, to wit. And then it just gives the name of the officers. And it states here, nor did they reach the earth anytime soon, for war soon circled the whole earth around, and every nation and tribe and people were immersed in bloody carnage. This period was practically the end of the good works of the Trinity gods, or the Truant, but equally so the beginning of their mighty kingdoms in heaven, which were destined ere along to overshadow the whole earth. See that, verse 9. The war they set on foot on earth extended into their own kingdoms. And these three gods, the Truants, saw that only by might and desperate vigor could they preserve their heavens from anarchy. See that? 5 of the sub-gods of Kabbalistes of India revolted within his own kingdom and set up places of their own. And they falsely assumed the names of saviors. See that? Who had been put to death in order to establish the Trinity. Verse 11. Kabbalistes summoned his remaining chief officers to Haraktu, his heavenly city, before his throne. And when they were before him, he said unto them, this is the emergency of the gods. My voice and my strong army are risen up. Miscreants who I elevated to official positions in heaven have betrayed their trust. With their legions they have succeeded and set up kingdoms of their own. I have called you before me, that ye may jointly hear my decree and obey. I will have order and harmony in my heavens, neither shall there be but one God in my dominion, even myself. It is my will, therefore, that ye pursue these rebellious captains down to the earth, to their heavenly kingdoms, and despoil them utterly. See how the false gods are talking? Talking about despoiling these niggas utterly. But we just read earlier, Jehovah said, yo, don't grieve God. You know what I mean? Send out an army host, and we're going to collect the spirits of the dead and let the false gods run their course. Because they're going to sow their own seed of destruction. Verse 14. And if need be, ye shall capture them and their chief leaders and cast them into hell. For they shall understand that I am not a God of peace like the Jehovian gods, but a God of war. See that? What did your Bible say? I am a God of war. What did the Oahspe say? I am not a God of peace like the Jehovian gods, but a God of war. So he's clearly showing you the distinction, the difference between even the gods, not even dealing with the Creator. He says the Jehovian gods are peaceful. They don't deal with destruction and death. But he said, but I am a God of war. So a God of peace and a God of war are two separate deities. A God of peace maintains peace, never goes to war. A God of war maintains war, always got his hands dirty. Verse 15. For this purpose I appointed Yema as my holy ambassador and earth warrior, and I give to him 2,000 million warriors, that he may quick work of my rebellious chiefs. My marshal shall select, therefore, for thee, Yema, 2,000 million angels. That's 2 billion angels, warriors. And thou shalt appoint them, and thou shalt appoint thy own generals and captains, and go down at once down to the earth regions of these miscreants, and carry out my commandment. See that? Yema and his host did as commanded, but not suddenly. For an angel war ensured, which lasted 46 years, before the 5 rebellious gods were beaten from their strongholds, and even then they were not captured and cast into hell, but they escaped taking 500,000 angel warriors with them, and they migrated to Europe, to the cities of Rome, where they established themselves in secrecy. Thus the disposed Indian gods became gods of Rome. Now let me stop right there. It says the Indian gods became gods of Rome because these Indian gods fled from this particular, they lost the battle, so they fled from India to Rome. Now let me show you something. Let me show you proof of that, because the depiction of the pitchfork is from India. Let me show you something. Show you something right quick. Let's see if I can pull that up. See if I can pull up this picture real quick, family. Let me show y'all something. Just a switch of a button. All right, so check this, right? Let me show y'all something. Let me show you how the influence of these gods from India made their way to Rome, and we could see the semblance. All right, let me get another one. Let me show you that we clearly see that this pitchfork comes out of India. But then we're gonna see the same shit in Rome, and you're gonna scratch your head, well, what is this doing in Rome? This is not a Roman thing. This is a goddamn Indian thing. So let me show you. This is, you know, Poseidon and Zeus and them boys there in the bedroom. Watch this. Let's upload a couple pictures, because we make it make sense over here. All right, so check it. Boom. Check this. Check this. No blood clot shatter. All right, watch this. India. So now, y'all see this picture right here, right? Boom. That's India. But look what she's holding. Or he holding, whoever he is. It's a pitchfork, right? See that pitchfork? Upload another picture of the pitchfork. See that? There go another picture. See the pitchfork? This is India. But now let's go to Rome real quick. Let's go to Rome real quick. Let's see something. When we go to Rome, guess who we see? Who do we see holding the pitchfork? Boom! Goddamn Poseidon, Zeus, whoever. Look, this is a Roman deity holding the same Indian pitchfork. Where did he get that from, huh? That's the question. Where did this deity get this pitchfork? Where did that concept come from? That's right. Came from goddamn India. Now I'm going to go back to that verse, and the verse is going to read how these Indian deities ended up in Rome, trying to escape the wars in their own land. Pull up another one. Check this. Check that. Bong. Look at that. So you got Shiva, the Greek Poseidon. But how did these niggas ended up in the... How did these Eastern Indian deities ended up in goddamn Greece and Rome? So check this. Let's read that again. It says what? Yema and his host did as commanded. What was the command? To get rid of to eradicate these other false gods. Yema and his host did as commanded, but not suddenly. For an angel war ensued which lasted 46 years. Before the 5 rebellious gods were beaten from their strongholds, and even then they were not captured and cast in hell, but they escaped, taking 500,000 angel warriors with them, and they migrated to Europe, to the city of Rome, where they established themselves in security. Thus the disposed Indian gods became gods of Rome. And they go the evidence with the pitchfork. That's an East Indian goddamn thing. But now you see it in Rome, or in Europe to say. See that? And immediately after Yema succeeded clearing Vindhya, Kabbalistic summoned him again to Haraktu, his heavenly seat, before his holy council. When he had thus became Kabbalistic, spoke from his throne. So right there is showing you how these East Indian gods became gods of Rome. What did it say? Thus the disposed Vindhian gods became gods of Rome, or gods of Europe. And then you see Poseidon in them with the pitchfork, which comes out of India. Now the Indians is, influencing the people in that region with their customs and culture coming from India. The same thing with the Caribbeans. The Indians from the indigenous service, the Indians that came from India to the Caribbeans, they brought with them curry. They brought with them ganja. That's how we got in the Caribbeans. Niggas started smoking weed because of the Indians. They brought that. They brought the ganja to the Caribbeans. See that? They brought the curry. The Jamaicans and y'all think curry come from Jamaica. No, nigga, that shit come from India. You know what I'm saying? This whole time you thinking curry is an African thing or a Caribbean thing. No. Curry that you so love, your curry jerk, your curry chicken, your curry oxtail, nigga, that shit come out of India. See that? A lot of people don't even know that. You thinking you eating African food, nigga, you eating East Indian food. So I'm showing you right there that these deities left India and came to Rome, and we see the influence with that alone. You dig? Because it's a vibes. Sean, I see you. The witching hour. You see what I'm saying, Sharice? Y'all still hanging in there with me. That's what's up. Word up. Like it up, gang, no doubt. But Shiva go hard, so yeah. See, he actually talks about the process of awakening clearly. India, the most learned people of the earth. Yeah, them Indians are smart, yo. See, at this point, we can't be so cocky about, we black people, we African. Nigga, we gotta show and prove. We showing and proving in sports, most definitely. Athletic-wise, we can show and prove in that department. But now we gotta show and prove in other departments like in science. You know what I mean? In the hospital world. Surgeons and things of that nature, stitching shit up. Understanding the body, understanding the physiology of the body, how it works. We gotta tap into that thing. We can run our ass off and shoot. You know what I mean? But those are still mundane things. Those are like goddamn slave shits. You know, you got the slaves out there doing that, playing athletics, and slave master watching like, that's a good nigga right there. He can swing that baseball bat, but you ain't really educating and gaining real knowledge. You just using your physical abilities, which is cool and all. But the worst thing is to be very athletic and be stupid. You know what I mean? And even if you look at the sport world, the NBA world, a lot of those dudes is programmed. They're not really free thinkers. They just program. All the niggas sound like they on the same program. When a basketball game when a game finish, when LeBron talk or whichever one of these ball players niggas talk, they all sound like fucking robots. They all sound the exact same. It's like they so programmed. They're not really having no real mental intelligence. Their intelligence falls in their athleticism. but not in mental intelligence. That's why we still looked at as dumb people and dumbed down, and we could play and do sports good, but mentally we're not intelligent. And I'm not saying we're not all, but I'm just saying like how the world kind of view us compared to how when we look at Chinese people and Indian. Chinese, they got technology. Japan got the technology. So we think they smart. You know what I mean? Indian, them niggas run the goddamn surgeon world and the doctor world. Most, you go to these hospitals and them doctors be Indians. You know what I mean? Plenty of times I went to the hospital and the doctors moving around, you see them niggas, and they be Indians. Some of them niggas even got their turban on. I'm like, damn, okay, man, that nigga, he the top nigga in charge. It don't even be the white boys, it be them Indian and the women. They run that field. The nurse, the doctor field. The high end of the doctor field, the surgeons, the neurosurgeons and the brain surgeons and all that. What? Nurse practitioners? But those are not Indians, ain't they? I'm talking about at the top of the chain. The neurosurgeons niggas. You said what? You ain't got to whisper.
The nurse practitioners know just as much as the MD doctor.
My wife said the nurse practitioners know just as much as the MD doctors. So the nurse practitioners be Indians too. Then those be the women, more likely. Yeah, but I ain't gonna lie. That's a good field to get into. The hospital field or whatever. Like I was studying medical billing and coding. I went to school for that, and then my teacher told me that in order to be good at medical billing and coding, you had to learn the medical terminology. Study medical terminology, nigga. You'll succeed in medical billing and coding. So I took that to heart, nigga. I was studying all them goddamn medical terms at one time. Like inflammation means, what's that? Arthritis, inflammation of the bones and shit like that. You know, itis means inflammation and arthro means bone, shit like that. When you start learning them terminologies, you'll be alright. So yeah. Kevin C. He says my cardiologist is from Iraq. Yeah, huh? Oh. Yeah, all them niggas is from the same people and shit. All that is shim.
The heart doctors.
The heart doctors, yeah. Peace to Eliyahu. I see you, King. Belair, what's good? Peace to the fam. You know, we up late night with it tonight. Yeah, but the goddamn the hospital world, the pharmaceutical world, that's a good field, yo. The medical terms, that's what made me start studying the body more, the medical terminologies. Like for example, you put on arthritis, for example. You put on arthritis, it gives you an example of what it is. Dehydration of the cell. Pull up a picture real quick. Health 101. So look at this. They go with healthy joint, osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. But notice the blue cushion in the healthy joint. And notice how the blue cushion is removed and the bones are actually causes friction upon each other. So that blue, that lubricant, that cushion is needed. If that becomes dehydrated and burn out, you have an inflammatory condition. Inflammation means burning. So your cells, your bone cells is literally burning. That's where the aching comes from. See that? You got rheumatoid arthritis. Yeah, yo, it gets deep. You niggas got to be on their health. That's why it's good to study the body, yo. The body got 12 systems. Study all them shits. I got a medical terminology that hard work. Yeah, that medical terminology book, yo, that shit cold-blooded. Start learning the medical terms. Yeah. The scriptures say, know thyself, right? So we got to study the body. You ain't got to become a wizard in studying the body, but you know, you can study it and just get a basic understanding of it. So like here, the body made up of 12 systems. It's interesting that it's 12, right? You're talking about the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 zodiacs. But did you know the body got 12 systems? See that? 12 systems of the body. The digestive, the skeleton, the integumentary or the skin system. You know what I mean? The lymphatic system, the endocrine. See that? These are the 12 systems of the body. And these 12 systems you got to keep hydrated with your diet. Because if you don't hydrate these systems or these body systems, your ass gonna be out here fucked up somewhere down the line. You know what I mean? So like the lymphatic system, that helps with fighting off, you know what I mean, diseases and things like that, getting rid of waste and toxins. But your lymphatic system works by you moving around. You gotta stay active. Bong. So that's one thing. Exercise. You know what I mean? You got the digestive system. That's the first system that encounters foods and liquids. So a lot of times that's the first system, not always, but that may encounter sickness and disease. You know, you may get throat ulcers, stomach ulcers. A lot of people suffer with ulcers because of the acidity of the food they eat, and the stomach acid is already acid, so you add an acid on top of acid, and that creates the burning of the lining of the stomach, creating ulcers. It's an inflammatory condition. And that same rule would apply in your digestive system, because that's where the food gets stuck at, in the digestive tract. You know what I mean? So if you eating meat, and that meat got to go through a 30-foot tube, a lot of that meat is going to be stuck along the walls of that tube. And that's how you get intestinal worms. You know what I mean? So you just got to get a basic understanding of the 12 systems and know how to hydrate. That water is key. You know what I'm saying? It's all good, family. Ain't nobody perfect. We all got some type of ailment going on with us. Even if you had the Oahspe, if I would have found the Oahspe sooner, I might not even have a cardiologist right now. It's all good. Just change your diet, drink more water, get you some key limes, squeeze that shit in a gallon of water. I be taking limes, yo, and just bust them shits in the mouth, chew them, spit them shits out. I deal with them limes on that level, like, nigga, I just, you know what I mean, chew them shits like they're a goddamn prune or something. Or they a plum. You dig? See that? That's why I would do repetitive teaching. I may sound like I'm repeating a lot, but that's why the sister said, what? I didn't know the body had 12 systems. See that? That's why I always repeat the teachings. Always constantly going over and reciting the teachings, because it's always going to be new to somebody else. You know what I mean? And then the Israelites, they got them speak the same shit on the corners, year in, year out, just in the same Bible. I'm like, yeah, nigga, y'all don't get bored of that? We got more to talk about over here in the Oahspe, not to get easily bored, but these niggas is, thus saith the Lord, Israel is the chosen. See, we're the chosen above all other nations. We're a particular people. Man, don't nobody want to hear that shit no more. That shit played out. Niggas want to get more deep into the science of creation. So the body has 12 systems. There go the 12 tribes of Israel right there. Each tribe is a system. What? The tribe of Judah is the lymphatic system. You know, that's the tribe that Yeshua came out, the tribe of the lymphatic system. You know what I mean? You got some Israelites that'll get so esoteric and start talking like that. That should be crazy. Yeah, the Levites are the skeleton system. Or they'd be like, the lymphatic system is the Aries zodiac sign. See, the Aries zodiac and the lymphatic system, they coincide because of 12 systems. See, I don't do that. That's bullshit. That esoteric shit, that abstract, is straight bullshit because it has no central direction to the philosophy. You just spewing out shit and just going all over the place. And you have a lot of these so-called spiritualists or these so-called conscious or awakened cats, and that's how they talk. They'll take all this abstract shit and just throw it out there with no central core to what the fuck they talking about. See, every time I talk, we'll go out there, we'll talk about these false gods and these fallen angels, and then what we'll bring it back to, family, we'll bring it back to the purpose and the intent is to reach the Etherian kingdoms. We'll bring it back to right here. We always gonna come back to this right here. Earth, the first, second, and third, and then Etheria. Etheria is homebound. That's where we headed. So that's the scope. So we ain't gonna get caught up in the esoteric talk because we understand that the scope is Etheria. Nigga, we talking Etheria over here. That's like we in high school and we talking college. You in the 9th grade, you in the 10th grade, nigga, you just got into high school and you already talking about what college you want to attend. Yeah, I'm in 10th grade, you know what I mean? But I want to go to goddamn Georgia State University. You know what I mean? I want to go to, you know, whatever university that's popping in whatever state. I want to go there. The universities are the Etherian kingdoms. Jehovah said what? Book of Jehovah chapter 2 verse 2. What did Jehovah say? A corporeal body gave I man that he may learn corporeal things, and death I made that he may rise in the firmament and inherit my Etherian worlds. So that's the goal, to inherit the Etherian worlds, and you got to go through the first, second, and third heavens, the primary education of those fields, in order to attain the third resurrection. And these times take place during the harvest times, during the subcycles of 400-year period. See, we got this whole shit mapped out because of the Oahspe now. We done figured this shit out. That's why I always say, ain't no scratching our heads over here. We got a better understanding in the blueprint than the Bible. Timetables of prophecies is revealed over here. Said, I don't want to stay in high school, that's for sure, yeah. High school could be a good thing or a terror for some people. You know what I mean? Now, I remember days in high school when, nigga, that shit was fierce. Everything good, now you beefing with niggas, now you like, damn, I gotta go to school with this shit on my mind. I gotta be in class thinking about if these niggas gonna try to jump on a nigga during periods of class. Yeah, high school could be fierce. Depending on what city you grew up in, you know, Atlanta was, you know, it wasn't that bad. But I be hearing certain stories where niggas catching hell. Yeah, Damien doing the prison skit. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that used to be hilarious. See, they was cracking on niggas back then. No doubt, okay? They was cracking on niggas back then. Sean, no doubt. You know what I mean? We out, what time is it? 3:26? Nigga, we out late with it. Nigga, still in the chat. Y'all still rocking with it, nigga. Get them likes up. 27 likes. Let's get it to 40. Bong, cause it's a vibes, you dig? Yeah, yo. We just going through some spiritual revelations. Dropping some knowledge. Getting it out there. You ain't gonna hear nothing like this unless you got the Oahspe and you on the same page. Everybody want to stick to their false gods and they run along to Jesus instead of running back to the Creator. Jesus ain't more potent than the Creator. Ain't nobody more potent than the Creator. So return to the Creator, because that's where the truth is at. Yeah, man, the gunplay is crazy. It's sad right now, yo. It's sad right now. It's going to continue to get worse. It's going to get so bad that it's going to make people do two things. Move away or stay and deal with the nonsense. That's what's going to happen. It's definitely a vibe, you dig? So we just going to vibe out from here, family. Let's get on the dance floor and vibe out, yo. Let's two-step. I mean, normally we'd be in the club these hours. We'd be leaving the club, getting ready to leave the club. We just left the club with the Creator, hearing the wisdom of the Creator. Now we on the dance floor two-stepping. 'Cause it's a vibes. On the lookout, what's good, fam? What's the take for the new beloveds that our creator brought the Oahspe to? What's the take? Shoot, it's all love, I guess. It's all love. Anybody who reads the Oahspe and it starts resonating, they start getting and understanding the words of the creator, that's what it's about. That's my whole job. My whole duty was to bring the Oahspe to the forefront, social media wise, because it wasn't on social media. It wasn't on YouTube. So I did my job. I can fall the fuck back now. I can fall back and let niggas rock out, because now everybody got the Oahspe. Now they can start giving their perspective on the Oahspe and start spreading the Oahspe, the words of the creator, to their people. And they people. I just laid the motherfucking foundation on social media to get motherfuckers' attention. Now that niggas got the attention and they open them back, your boy gonna start falling back. Cause that was my purpose. My mission is done, really. My mission was to just bring it to the people. And social media, I can reach way more people on here than I could do standing on the street corner. See that? So all praise to the creator, yo. The light is in your hands now. Melanin, what's good? I see you. It's a vibes. You're done. No all praises. Yes, we vibing out, yo. Cause it's a vibes. Study thyself to be approved. Test the spirit. Now, if the body has 12 systems, let me see if I erase that. Not the reptilians. If the body has 12 systems, right? And the spirit is supposed to dwell in the body. Out of the 12 systems, what system do the spirit preside in? That's the question. That's the question one has to ask. If the spirit exists and preside in the body, out of 12 systems, what system do the spirit reside? I'm going to pull up the answer right now. Cause it survives. I'm about to show you right now the seat. Yes, family. It's all the vibes. I'm going to show you the answer to that question. I see y'all putting y'all questions in, your answers in there. Let me see. The endocrine system, the blood. All right, close. The seat of the spirit. What is the seat out of the 12 systems of the body? Which system does the spirit reside? I'm about to pull up the answer right now for y'all. And then we're gonna go into it. Here go the answer right here. See if I get any more. The heart. All right, close. Life is in the blood, no doubt. But here's the real answer right here, family. Here's the real answer to that question. Boom. The seat of the spirit is the central nervous system. The spirit presides in the central nervous system, which is the brain. The conduit of the spirit is the brain, the spine, and the nerves. The brain, the spirit, the brain is the spark. The brain is the computer. That's the seat of the spirit. The mind, the brain. The central nervous system is electricity based. It's based off an electrical charge. Spirit is electrical. And electricity is spirit. It's ruach, it's air. Air has an electronegative and a positive and negative charge. When we breathe in and air, it affects the brain. That's where the spirit sits, in the central nervous system. See that? So the central nervous system, the seat of the spirit, is that. When the angels come to you and you hear the voice, that shit is in the mind. It's in the head. It's a vibes. And then I'm going to show you a verse from the Oahspe where the spirit is released from the corporeal head. Watch this. Watch this. Because it's a vibes. That's why it's called the central nervous system. It's the conduit for the rest of the body. The central nervous system is control of all other systems of the body. It's the head nigga in charge. Watch this. It's in the story of Brahma in the Oahspe, where it talks about when the spirit releases from the body, it releases from the head. I was like, damn, that's deep. Check it, watch this. It's in the story of Brahma. Cause it's a vibes. Alright, so check this. So like I said, the central nervous system, so the question was, out of the 12 systems, what systems does the spirit resides? And that is the central nervous system. That's the conduit. The central nervous system is the master programmer of the body. So now, in the first book of God, chapter 22, verse 6, it states this. This is the story of Brahma and his wife. Then spoke the angel Utif, saying, out from the head of the corporeal body, the spirit is born. See that? It said out from the head. From the corporeal body, the spirit is born. So you raise up out from the head portion when you croak and cross over. So if it's out from the head, the spirit resides in the central nervous system, because that's the system that deals with the head, the brain, the nerves, and the spinal cord. Well, now again it states, then spoke the angel Utif, saying, out from the head of the corporeal out from the head of the corporeal body, the spirit is born. Then spoke the angel Utif, saying, out from the head of the corporeal body, the physical body, the spirit is born. And angels stand around. On a spirit blanket receive they the spirits of the dead. See that? So right here, the Oahspe is showing you how spirits are delivered from the corporeal body, from the head, and you have angels that stand around and spirit blankets. The same way when a baby is born and he's wrapped up in that blanket from the nurses, likewise when you are born. Likewise when you are born, you're going to be wrapped up in a blanket the same way. Let me pull up a picture. For example, I just pulled up a quick pictures. And I'm going to show relevance because, you know, we learn through illustration. So out from the head, the spirit is born, period. Regardless of what age you quote, that's how the spirit is born, through the head. Hold up. All right, so check it. Bong. So, all right, you see how that baby wrapped up in that blanket? So when a baby comes into the world, what's the first thing we do? We wrap it up in a blanket, right? So what did the Oahspe say? Huh? Then spoke the angel Utif, saying, out from the head of the corporeal body, the head is the brain, out from the brain of the corporeal body, the spirit is born or released. And angels stand around, on a spirit blanket receive they the spirits of the dead. So when you cross over, the spirit is born from the central nervous system, out from the head. And then angels stand around, like nurses stand around, and put your ass in a blanket. Put your spirit in a blanket, cover your ass up like that baby right there. See the parallel? See the parallel the Oahspe gives concerning these things? Huh? See that? This is why I say when you read the Oahspe, your ass ain't going back to the Bible, because it's too much to play with over here. It's too much to goddamn get into. No doubt, Sharice, every time. Now, the pineal gland is part of the endocrine system. Now, the endocrine system deals with the regulation of hormones. You know what I mean? It regulates your mood swings, your behavior, your appetite. You know what I mean? It's like a regulator. Endocrine is like a regulator. You know what I mean? So if you pull up the endocrine system, so if we pull up the endocrine system, just a little quick demonstration of the endocrine system. So this is a depiction of the endocrine system. Oh snap, hold on. Can you fit the screen? Alright. So it's the endocrine system right there. Let me move this other ones out of the way. See that? So here we got the endocrine system. Barely see. Hold on. It's the endocrine system right here. Let's deal with your pituitary gland, your pineal gland, adrenal gland, so the pancreas. So the endocrine system really deals with absorption and secretion of hormones. And that's what regulates your mood swings. You know what I mean? Appetite, attitude, all that. But But notice you see the pineal gland up there. Now the pineal gland has got to do with your dreams. It's carbon-based too. The endocrine system is carbon-based because when you look at the secretion of these fluids, the minerals in them is carbon-based. And carbon is that molecular, psychedelic mineral that lets you tap into them dream worlds. And notice the pituitary gland is locked in the brain. So that's part and parcel of having dreams. That pineal gland, that's what they call it, the third eye. When you dreaming and you having dreams, that's the eye you seeing with. What they call the third eye, but really it's your spiritual eyes, because you have a spiritual body, and that spiritual body has eyes like you have eyes. And those eyes behold the things in the spirit world the same way our physical eyes behold things in the physical world. See that? So yeah. We on fire tonight. We on fire tonight. So the endocrine is probably most connected to the moon. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, because the moonlight is more magnetic energy, while the sunlight is more electrical. It's different. It's same vortexian energy, but different density. So sunlight is more electrical. It's more active. It increases the pineal gland. It absorbs, I should say. It absorbs in the daylight. The endocrine system absorbs the sunlight, and at night, that absorption, that energy is released out of you at nighttime. That's why the spirit comes out of you at nighttime, because the vortexian energy is released out at night. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of people have these astral projections, these outer body experiences at night, because the vortexian energy, including your vortexian energy, is released. Would you consider the head or the brain to be part of the nervous system? Yeah, the nervous system, what makes up the nervous system is the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves, the nerve tendencies. That's what makes up, so it's a threefold thing, but it's all connected. Caught him early. Let's put him in the club. Get him out of here early. Yeah. I wonder how the chakra are connected to the systems. Well, the chakra is actually a metaphysical term. It's more of a allegory, but in a sense, like when you look up, like the furthest term, when you look at the term chakra, it really refers to a king and his kingdom being circular. When you go back to the origin of the word. But then the concept of the chakra, meaning, spinning balls or vortices, came a little later on. It was more like a esoterical concept that came later. But then you got the chi energy, you know what I mean, which is controlling vortexian energy through the breath control. But there's, you know what I mean, you could apply these concepts. Kundalini energy. Well, the energy part, that deals with more the breath. That could fall in the respiratory, because you got to use your breath, your inhale and exhale, to control the Kundalini energy. But all the systems are connected. That's the thing. So all the 12 systems are connected because they got to function together to even work as one body. But the central nervous system is the controller of the rest of the systems. Your muscles activate off nerves. If your nerves ain't working right, the muscles ain't gonna work right. And likewise with all the nerve tendencies that's connected to the organs. But the connector, as far as, there's only one system that is connected. The same way there's one system that the spirit presides, there's another system that is one that connects to all organs. And I'm gonna pull up that system. I gave y'all the first question, which system out of the 12 the spirit resides in, and that's the central nervous system. Now another question is, what system is connected to all 12 systems? There is a system that is connected to all 12 systems. Like, for example, like the skeleton system is not connected to the endocrine system. So we can't make a connection there. But there's one system that's connected to all systems. I'm going to pull it up. Anybody got an answer for that? What system out of the 12 system is connected to all the systems? Which system out of the 12 systems is connected to all systems? Who got an answer? Digestive? Nah. Good one though. Because the digestive is not connected to the skeleton, so that won't work. But it's a good one though. Let me pull up the answer. Subdarth, I see you. Peace, God. Peace, Cosmon Israelites. All right, no doubt. I like that. The heart. Close, but no. All right, I'm about to pull up the answer right here. Here go the answer. Heart is basically close, very close. Damn near it. But it's this the answer right here. Circulatory system. The heart is the cardiovascular system. But it's the circulatory system, which is the blood system that is connected to all organs in the body. The blood is connected to the skeleton. The blood is connected to the kidney, the pancreas, the lungs, the brain. All organs the blood is connected to. So the blood is the foundation of a healthy body. Because sickness and disease thrive in the blood. So if the blood is inflammatory, right? If you have too much uric acid, if you have too much acid in the blood, it'll start affecting organs. It's just a matter of which organ is going to start messing with first. So if you have arthritis, that means you have blood that is hot, inflamed, going to your bones that supposedly supposed to be applying oxygen, a negative charged oxygen to your cell. Now is a positive charged oxygen, an acidic based oxygen cell, fueling your goddamn carbon cells. I mean your calcium cells. The blood system, the circulatory system, is connected to all 12 systems, all 11 systems. So if you have dementia or anything going on with your brain, it's because the blood, the oxygen going to there is not alkaline, it's acidic. You know, oxygen can be expressed in two forms. Oxygen has a negative charge. But if you take away some of them goddamn electrons, that shit could easily turn into a positive charge. And that's where inflammation comes. Inflammation. When inflammation hit the blood, that shit circulates throughout them organs. You're going to start getting arthritis, inflammation of the bones, inflammation of the heart. When you have inflammation of the heart, you know, irregular heartbeat, heart failure, all that is poor circulation. All that comes from too much acid in the blood. And acid in the blood, it creates poor circulation. It slows down blood circulation, blood clotting. See that? That's the connector right there. Mitochondria, DNA, no doubt. Abdul Ben, I see you. All right, people up late night with it. You know how we do. Which pumps through the arteries to and fro from the heart. No doubt, exactly. So the heart plays an important role because the heart pumps blood. So if you have any heart conditions because it's something going on with your veins, because veins supply, you know what I mean, it brings blood back to the heart. While the arteries take blood away from the heart to the organs. So if you're going to have an organ that's inflamed, it's going to come from the arteries. But if you're going to have a problem with the heart, it's going to come from the veins. the oxygen or the blood coming back to the heart. They got to supply it properly to keep that heartbeat pumping properly. You dig? Oh yeah, we eating tonight. I'm gonna go back over some of this, no doubt. Yeah, we what, about to be 4 hours in a minute? Damn, this don't even feel like it. It's 3:54 in the AM. See that? We conquered the drudges. See, we got these drudges over here learning. They ain't out there doing evil. They sitting up here learning this shit. We got these drudges over here learning. That's why I say you bring them, we're gonna raise them up. Every now and then they may gain a little inspiration here and there, but for the most part, nah, niggas fall in place. They fall in line like a motherfucker. No doubt, yeah, son. No doubt. Y'all got any questions? Holler, man. Because health, if the body is the temple, right? The body is the temple, so we got to keep the temple pure. The blood is the life force of the body. The blood is the circulatory system is the only system that is connected to the rest of the 11 systems. Let me pull up them systems again real quick. Show you something. Mom, see that? There you go. So you got the 12 systems right here. And the blood system is the only system that connects the rest of the systems. See, if you look at the chart above with the blood, and then you look at the chart below with all the other systems, if you notice, the blood is connected to every last one of them. It's connected to the muscle. It's connected to the bones. It's connected to the lungs. It's connected to the heart, the pancreas, the kidneys, the liver, the brain, your arms, your legs. Oh, see that? The circulatory system is the connector that connects the rest of the systems. Your digestive system. The reason you got constipation is because of dehydration of oxygen on the lining of the lining of the tract. You got to hydrate that shit for you to have a proper bowel movement. The lining of your digestive tract got to be lubricated, and that can only be done through oxygen. And the only way the oxygen can get there is through the blood, through the artery. The artery is going to supply the oxygen to the organ. The artery supply oxygen to the brain. So if you drinking beer, you drinking sodas, you drinking all these drinks that contains high acid in it, what's going to happen is that acid is going to get in your blood, and it's going to turn your blood acid, and in return it's going to turn that oxygen cell that's being carried to your organs is going to give it an acidic charge. See, every mineral is expressed in two charges, positive and negative, but it's the negative charge that keeps the body hydrated and cool and healthy and lubricated. But it's when that negative charge turns positive is when the body becomes dehydrated, and it dehydrates the cell and dries out the lubrication. See that? Yes, family. Health 101. You dig? It's 8:45 in UK in the AM. Okay. Yeah, so they getting their early morning lessons over there. You dig? No doubt. Every system is detoxed with the tea, because the way it works is that when you drink the detox tea, it goes where? Into the bloodstream, via through the duodenum, and it gets into the blood through there. So once the tea gets into the blood, what happens after that? The blood starts to distribute the minerals that's in the tea throughout the body, throughout the rest of the 11 systems. So if you have arthritis, once the minerals of calcium enters the blood, it's going to distribute that blood, enters the artery. It's going to distribute that calcium cell from the artery into the bones. Calcium, oxygen, and the rest that's needed, and it's going to start hydrating the calcium cell of the bones, and that arthritis and them aches going to go away. You catch them early. You dig? So that's what's going to happen with that, yo. So the full body detox, that detox the whole body. The carbon C7 is just that. It's a carbon-based tea coming from barks and trees. And that's designed to hydrate the spirit. The carbon C7 is a spiritual drink. Because like I said, where does the central nervous, where does the spirit sit? In the central nervous system. So let's pull out the central nervous system. Show you something. There go the central nervous system. The central nervous system, that deals with carbon as well. Because what did Dr. Sebi say is the electrical spark of life? Copper and carbon. So the spark of copper and carbon, or electricity, would have to be done in the central nervous system in the brain. And carbon plays a role in that, to hydrate the carbon cells. Anywhere that your body has carbon, your eyes, your hair, your skin, your nerves, your brain, is going to hydrate those areas the same way it'll hydrate any other mineral. The same way if you're low on iron, you gotta take iron to get iron. You gotta take carbon to get carbon. You know what I mean? The reason why you have your pineal gland is calcified is because of lack of carbon. It's serotonin and melatonin that secretes and absorbs in those glands. Those are carbon based. Melanin is carbon. See that? So if you're not giving yourself carbon, how are you going to hydrate the carbon cells in your body? They're going to become dehydrated. That's why a lot of people don't have dreams and shit, because their pineal gland is calcified. So you got to decalcify the pineal gland by hydrating the pineal gland, by hydrating the hormones that exist in the in the endocrine system. The endocrine system is the liquid-based system that deals with absorption and secretion of fluids. The pancreas, that's what it deals with. It absorbs insulin. The pineal gland and these other systems, it absorbs and it releases serotonin and melatonin. It deals with absorption and secretion. The greatest carbon you're gonna get is from bark. That carbon C7 I got, that's how you're gonna get that carbon. And that carbon is alkaline, highly electrical. The greatest carbon you're gonna get in nature is off a bark of trees. Pio Pereira is high in carbon. It's like 22, 24, 26 electrons per carbon atom. That's highly electrical. So that induces the electricity that it sparks in your body. Another form of way of high getting carbon is that goddamn sun out there. They say vitamin D, but shit, vitamin D is not a mineral. But when you look at what makes up vitamin D, it's carbon in there. It's the amount of electrons per carbon atom that determines the potency of the carbon cell. The greater the electrons to the carbon cell, the greater the potency and the greater the electrical spark is to that carbon atom. And your electrical spark is your spirit, and that exists in the brain and your central nervous system. Your neurological order is dealing with carbon. You know what I mean? Parkinson's disease, dementia, Alzheimer's, all that is dehydration of the brain. When your brain gets dehydrated, you start having these issues mentally. Smoking is carbon. Everything is carbon. You know what I mean? Facts. You tap in. You know what I mean? When you take mushrooms, that shit is carbon. Mushrooms growing on trees and shit, ain't them portobello mushrooms. When you look at these mushrooms, that blackness you see, that ain't nothing but carbon. Things like that is going to help the carbon in your body. So mushrooms is a good advocate because you got them helping your central nervous system. You helping your endocrine system. People who take mushrooms and go into the psychedelic realm, the reason why is because of the carbon and the nitrogen. Carbon and nitrogen are the key components for tapping in to the other side. No doubt. Y'all seen, yeah. Your feelings and your emotions, yeah. Because that's dealing with what? The spirit. The spirit is where it presides in the central nervous system. So your emotions can have an effect on your health indeed. Asia, to answer that question, that's a good question. She said, what? Do they mess with mortals who are aware of them, or is it with low-grade spirits only? Now, actually, it works both ways. It just depends on your level of awareness. You know what I mean? So you got drudges that play on the low level, but then you have other drudges that play on the higher and more an intelligent level, like the false gods. They play more strategic compared to the wandering spirits, where they just wander and try to inspire themselves on the host and just inspire somebody to do wickedness with no central order or structure of what they're doing. But then you got them strategic motherfuckers who got there playing that shit out. So yeah, that's why we got to be fortified in the Creator, so can't none of these motherfuckers make their move on us to the point where we strain from the Creator. You know what I mean? We're going to do things in our behavior and actions where it's not always going to be 100%. But it's some things you do and you start really straying. It's like, all right, nigga, I know I'm going against, you know what I mean, what I'm supposed to be doing if I go do this shit. You go out there and go try to catch a body and kill somebody, you know you fucking up. You know what I mean? You go out there, you want to go steal somebody's shit, you know you fucking up. You know what I mean? So when you inspire to do things like that, you got to be mindful of your actions and other things on a minute level too. Yeah, no doubt, yo. That shit run deep. Elijah 7, I see you, peace, King. We out here on a late night with it. We 4 in the morning with it. See? You know how we do. Just wanted to come on a late night and give y'all some spiritual knowledge on we on the ghost, spooky hours, ghost stories. You dig? Yes, family, we gonna vibe out, yo. Let's put the music up, vibe out. You know what I mean? Stay prayed up in the Creator. Because these drudges, these spirits of darkness, they all around us. And you see the intent that they have. So be mindful on who you call upon, who you worship. Yes, family. Heads up, vibes. I think we're gonna call it a night. Family. We've been on for close to 4 hours, and y'all been rocking out with me. And that's only because of the Creator's influence upon you, upon us. Heads up, vibes. Linda, I see you. She's still in the chat with us. I see you. Y'all hanging out late night with me. I see y'all, man. All praises to the Creator. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. You read about how these spirits move, yo. So be mindful. Be vigilant. Be vigilant. Diligent. Vigilant. Cause it's a vibe. Let's go out into the cosmos, family. We signing out. Selah, Shalom. Make sure to get your bittersweet herbals. Matter of fact, before we sign out, let me run it.
Bittersweet herbals. What it tastes is bitter, but the results are sweet. Bittersweetherbals.com. Bittersweet herbals. What it tastes is bitter, but the results are sweet. Bittersweetherbals.com.
And we out of here, family. Creator gang gang. Peace to the gods, the righteous gods and goddesses. God and Naravinian goddesses. And we out. Selah Shalom. It's a vibe.